Big crowd starting to pile into the MCG on a magnificent night in Melbourne. The ground could not look any better. The Swans are out there going through their warm-up. The Hawks about to enter this stage. They finished the home and away season as the minor premiers. It is the ninth time that they have done that in their illustrious history. 8 of those occasions they have gone on to play in the grand final. The King Wayne Carey is here tonight for the big final. The Wolf, Gary Lyon, James Brayshaw is with us. Howie the Doc, Two-Man and the Warrior as well. And it's just got that nice feel about it, boys, as the Hawks come out onto this big stage, finals time, and you can just feel that very, very nice nervous energy in the air, boys.
No, it's great, Das, no doubt about it. And, Duck, we were in Sydney last week and we watched these two very teams go about it, and you sat there looking at it and you thought, how much are they showing? How much of their hand are they showing here? How much are they holding back? And I'm looking over my notes here. The Sydney Swans came out and they absolutely tackled like men possessed. At one stage, it was 18 tackles to 4. Ben McGlynn went to Isaac Smith, and I'm looking at the matchup thinking, is that going to be the one they go with this week, or are they just trying to do something a bit different? So in the end, it was hard to work out exactly what was going to be held over for this week. Now you look at it, and they sit here, you got 4 big ins for the Sydney Swans, 4 real good ins, although Jed is underdone. I'm not sure how big an impact he'll have. You see Cyril not coming, you see Buddy going out, and I'm looking at Spanger, Matthew Spanger run around there, who's a trier at best, but he's not I wouldn't have thought a September performer. I'll pick the Hawks. I'm a little concerned.
Yeah, I would be too, Gary. I watched that game, obviously on the TV. It's a lot different to watching it live like you guys did, but I just thought that Sydney had a little bit more up their sleeve. They dominated, well, not dominated, but they had control of the game early, and then obviously Hawthorn have a great ability. Sydney, I think, probably a little bit quicker than Hawthorn. They can be one pace through the middle of the ground. Sydney have a little bit more speed, but Hawthorn have a great ability of then getting the game on their terms. And I thought that's exactly what they did last Friday night. But I just get the feeling with Tippett coming back in, as you said, the other big ins, I just think that they've got a little bit more. We know what they did in last year's grand final. Last week was a close game. Don't be under any illusion. This will be a close, tight contest, and there will be periods where Sydney, I think, dominate, and then Hawthorn will have their little periods. What Sydney have this great ability to do, and what they've done for a number of years now, is it really doesn't matter who they have out there. They just keep coming. It doesn't matter if they get 2 or 3 goals down. They just keep coming. They keep doing the basic things well over and over again. Yeah,
and the pace the query for the Hawks, Rowan into the side, Jetta coming into the side, that might be a bit of a worry. But I'm going to ask you, Duke. We saw last week Mumford play a mighty game. Mike Pike was dangerous at times. When they went forward, they both looked like they could stretch Gibson. Now, Jesse White played a game last week that we looked at and thought, gee, he's a genuine player. And now they throw Tippett into the mix. Is that the area? Big 6'6" plus bodies that can go forward, take a mark and kick a goal.
That would be absolutely the thinking of John Longmire and the match committee, that get it in, get one-on-one opportunities. We've seen Tippett come in, a monster big defenders. They brought Brian Lake, the King, especially for this. He has to take one of them. I think he'll probably go to Tippett and try and take him out of the game. But what they've done is, as Gaz's pointed out, they've loaded up with other bigs. Jesse White kicked 3 goals in the space of about 7 minutes last week. It looked like he could tear it apart. If they catch fire, I'm not sure the firepower's there for Hawthorn to defend them.
I agree. They can definitely stretch them, Gaz. But as we've seen, and I did see Hawthorn a few weeks ago against St Kilda, and ever since Tippett's come into the side, they can be very predictable going to him. They didn't have him last week, so they use other options. But with him in, I hope they don't just bomb it, because they can fall into a habit of just going to him all the time. Now, the one thing about Hawthorn, yes, they're undersized, but the likes of Gibsons and Lakes and these guys, they play off, they know when to leave their man. So if Hawthorn aren't picking the right options going forward, Sydney aren't picking the right options, Hawthorn will have an ability to really run out. They will try to run off them. They might lack a little bit of height, but they'll obviously have more run than those guys.
And that is exactly right. Get the ball at ground level, they'll back themselves. So, look, they are all the variables. From a Hawthorn point of view, and I know, that there's this. We spoke to the TAB, man Adam at TAB TAB, sorry.
Yep.
You got the Duck here who's leaning towards the Swans. There's a grand swell of opinion that's slowly tilting Rioli out, yet this is a side that's lost 3 games for the season, and they've been at times without some of their stars. I think they're not quick, but they at their best, they move the ball quick.
Gaz, the other big one, and I'm under no illusion when people say, well, Hawthorn have won 13 of 14 without Buddy Franklin. Guess what? They haven't been finals. And in finals, and Buddy Franklin has been a very good finals performer. Okay, a couple of games he hasn't kicked straight, but he's their number one target down there. All of a sudden, like they said, Ted Richards is able to spend time on Roughhead rather than on Franklin. So all of a sudden it goes down a rung. They will look a lot stronger in their defence without Buddy there, and also obviously without Rioli. So for mine, although like everyone will say, yeah, but we play well without him, Gunston comes into the game, they will miss him tonight.
Sydney Swans would have been very happy when they found out that Buddy Franklin was going to be suspended. Cyril Rioli, the late omission tonight in the game. Dr. Rowan White on the back page of the Herald Sun just giving the information first.
Pretty eminent medico in the game.
Number one sports medico in the business. He's at ground level with Howie. Welcome to both of you. Thanks to Karcher. Boys, can you tell us exactly the story with Cyril Rioli?
No doubt, Doc's beside me. He's just finished signing autographs. Back page of the Herald Sun. Doc, you made some big claims about Cyril Rioli this morning. What's going on?
Howie, it's a little bit of a quandary, and it's bad news not to see him out here. And we saw both Cyril and Shields both getting ankle injuries 2 weeks ago. At the time, we thought Shields was the worst injury. In fact, it's Cyril that hasn't come up. It's a bad sign. He has not trained for 2 weeks. He got out on the track for 20 minutes, did not fulfil the fitness test this morning. And look, I'm a little pessimistic about this, given that, he's got to get a good solid week under his belt before he's made available.
So Rioli is out of the side. Shields comes in. Jed Anderson is the sub for the Hawthorn Football Club. And for Sydney, Doc, no changes for them. But Louis Jetta, we haven't seen him since round 15, the speedster. He's in front of us now with the green vest on.
Yeah, look, a real exciting player, and he's been out since round 15 with what's been called a shin injury. I believe it was a stress reaction, and that's why it's taken about 7 or 8 weeks to get better. He's played half of one reserves game, a VFL game last week. So, look, no doubt coming off the bench is going to be a sensible approach.
Nice crowd in the house, boys. Beautiful night for footy. No breeze to speak of. Should be a belter.
No doubt about it, Howie. Thank you. And Doc Rowan White, who preempted Cyril Rioli before we were even out of bed. That's how good he's going, Jim Boy.
He is.
I don't know how well the man who's sitting between Duck and I is going.
No.
I speak of my great friend and colleague, my right-hand man when it comes to this caper, who has been doing some business outside of work hours that needs to be discussed.
Will be.
Lucky for him, the two teams are coming for the national anthem because Tua, you're in danger of being suspended from the Chilmore show.
No, that's what I'm hearing, Gary. I'm prepared to cop the punishment.
You haven't even heard the charges yet.
But JB, I know how I went.
All right, here we go. Craig Willis not far away.
Right here at the MCG. Would you now please join with the coaches, players and umpires as we stand for the Australian National Anthem.
First of many of them we're going to hear over the next month of footy. John Longmire comes running to the line, as does Al Clarkson, two former teammates, of course, in years gone by. Two former teammates of yours, Duck, as we get ready to start this first qualifying final Friday night. Geez, they're tall, Gaz, the Swannies. They have picked a tall side.
And the weather's going to stay away, so this will be a battle to see whether Hawthorn defenders, particularly as Duck's pointed out, can get the ball to ground and then they can rebound and to sort of pressure those big tools. Some of the matchups, O'Keefe went to Mitchell in the grand final, did a great job, won a Norm Smith medal. O'Keefe went to Mitchell last week. Toss of the coin, Kieran Jack, Luke Hodges. Luke Hodges one's going to kick to the right of your radio dial. City end, the Swans go to the punt road end. As I mentioned, Birchall. I think Birchall, for me, Duck, last week at the game, the two keys to Sydney getting away to the good start was the work that they did on Birchall with Tom Mitchell, and also Isaac Smith, who's had an unbelievably good year. McGlynn was able to wear him down in the end. So they were the two that the Swannies went after.
Yeah, no, it's a look. That's where the game's going to be won and lost. You can talk about what the Swannies do up forward and the tippets and the going really tall and running off half back for Hawthorn, but it'll be one in the middle of the ground. And for mine, Hawthorn, just as we know and as I said earlier, they can be a little bit one-paced, and that's where Sydney will try to open them up. They'll try to play on. They'll want a quick brand of footy. Hawthorn will want to play it on their terms.
Couldn't have got a better night for the first final of this 2013 AFL season. Perfect conditions.
Look at Ruff, your man. Look at him. On the Chemist Warehouse replay
What's
screen.
he doing? Where's he at?
He's unshaven. He's had a fresh trim. He's got a Coleman medal in his back pocket.
Yep.
He'll be looking to tear it in you. Don't worry. Look to Luke Hodge. This is a man as born for September as anyone you're ever going to see. And then on the other hand, you've got Kieran Jack, who I have grown to love more and more every time I see this footy side play. So
Hanbury.
Hodge just goes through Hanbury in the middle of the ground. Malcheski's having words with Jordan Lewis. There might be a bit of nasty in this, boys, which is what finals footy is all about. And the irony, Sydney said, I need Tippett after the grand final last year. Hawthorn said, I need Lake, and they're going to go head-to-head.
O'Keefe starting in the middle too, Gary.
Righto, well, let's see whether he goes to Mitchell. I'm pretty sure that he'll be matched up to Mitchell, Duck. I'd be surprised if he's not. Lake goes to Tippett, the two gun recruits. This is what they got recruited for. This is what they're paid for.
Shake of the hands, Rowan and Stratton. You don't see that too often. Here we go. Bounce of the footy thanks to McDonald's. Triple M rocks the finals. Here's the big juke.
Max Bailey back in the side, first hand on it. O'Keefe squeezed the handball out. Hanbury's come in and picked it up, got it to McGlynn. The Swans go inside 50. It bounces over White's head. Slapped on by Pike, the 30 out. Now getting back there, Lake. Played it nicely and found his skipper Hodge, who's got enough time to get back onto his left boot. Clears defensive 50 where Sewell has it fisted away by McVeigh. Nick Smith to Josh Kennedy. His tackle. Bruce picks it up. On the boundary line, McVeigh strips him at footy, does it nicely to Kieran Jack. Inside 50 come the Swans again by Pike. The Canadian stood tall. And that's the worry. It is a tall forward line. Pike, White, Tippett. And the big fella's a great contested marks. Taken one, Gary, 20 metres out.
And that's a statement, Duck. Gibson has the man that's gone for him, and Gibson's gone back holding his shoulder at the moment, but he got caught out. Hodge couldn't get a spoil on.
No, it was a really good mark, contested mark, and that's what he's done all year, and does not miss, Gaz. He's a very good set shot.
Can you believe this man, Duck? 23-4 from set shots in 2013.
Oi.
The Canadian leans back on it.
Poster.
And it's nicked the post.
Jeez.
Make that
He was off to the
23-5.
races.
Thought it was home. There's the first score on the Triple M Momentum Energy scoreboard. It's a minor one to the Swans. We've played a minute and a quarter.
That was a good mark, Gaz, but did you notice all the big forwards all converged? You had White and Tippett right in that. You don't want them coming together.
Burgoyne brings it in. Nick Smith with a spoil that missed. Footy on the ground, who go back and get it. Smith, little one to McGlynn. Doubles back and then gets met pretty solidly with a bump though from Gunston, who then claimed McGlynn when he didn't have it. Handball or chain of handballs ends up with Puopolo on the wing. High ball forward, Bruce caught at the back. In fact, it was Bruce, and he couldn't get his hands to it. He goes inside 50. It's going to bounce in front of Ruff. Ruff picks it up with the one scoop and then goes with a left foot mung. It bounces in front of Sewell. Sewell goes back to Whitecross. Whitecross back to Sewell inside 50. Goes for a cute kick, doesn't come off. Now all the numbers are with the Swannies.
And it's Kieran Jack, releases Grundy at half back, pressured by Hodge, right foot kicks a ripper, sliding into Marcus Tippett. Has he taken it? No, it's spilled. McGlynn comes in. At half forward, Southern stand wing side of the MCG, not his best effort. Stratton in front, Gary Rowan applies some pressure. Mitchell sweeping across half back, slid in, fisted it on the ground to Gibson. Look at the pressure they're under
hot
here.
footy, Duke.
Gaz, they've brought it again, the Swans. Feeling the heat, Gibson, he hacks a kick to centre wing. Malcheski probably could have marked it.
A bit of Malcho.
Puopolo comes in, Bird picks it up. His kick under pressure, squeezed out of bounds on the full. It'll be a kick to Jordan Lewis just at half-back there.
No time or space anywhere, and even the most experienced players can feel the heat. Brad Sewell a couple of times, more pressure there than he actually, not as much pressure there as he thought.
Lewis went to Shields. Shields goes for a pretty ordinary kick out wide. Sewell somehow makes it work. Forward handball to Smith. Has a bounce as he runs to half forward, another one. Just outside 50. Sits it up for Bruce. The kick wasn't great. Bruce keeps it in. Handball over the top to Gunston in the pocket. Dribbles it. Through!
Norm!
Hawks! First of the match. Free kick, is it?
Hang on.
Just waiting.
Out of bounds, maybe. With Bruce. No score.
Yep. So no score. It's going to be a throw in deep, City end.
Well, again, the Sydney Swan defender that let Bruce turn him inside out is just breathing a sigh of relief. So it shouldn't have happened. I'm not sure who it is. It's is it Rampy?
Yep.
It is Rampy. So it looked like Bruce.
Good call by the boundary umpire looking at the Chemist Warehouse replay screen.
It was the non-officiating boundary umpire, Duck, who was further away. And he's decided that was it. The Chemist Warehouse replay screen confirming it. Diablo bundled over again. So they'll have a boundary thrown. Hawks in attack, 30 metres out from their goal. And here it is again on the Chemist Warehouse replay screen. And probably looked as though that footy was out. So it'll be Big Max Bailey. Mumford. Hawks in attack. Rough doing the roving. Tackled by 3 Swans. Can't get the footy out. They come from everywhere. The Swans are great at doing this, getting numbers back into defence, and we'll ball it up again. 20 out from the Hawks goal.
Really unusual setup here because you've got Bailey, Hale and Roughhead all around that stoppage.
Third up, Lewis. Picked off by Jack. And Jack just sits it out in front of Mitchell. He's got some work to do. Here, Guerra just gets sat down. My Mitchell sat him right on his arse, Gary. And Andreas Everett comes in, gets taken in a tackle by Spanger. Now they all arrive everywhere they come. And the ball, did McVeigh keep it in? I think he might have. There's Mitchell again, he gets taken. In a Guerra tackle, gets it free for a push.
Yeah, he stood up beautifully twice, Tommy Mitchell. He's a beauty. Luke Hyde's just behind the footy at the moment. That is exactly what Hawthorn want. So they need to be careful going forward, the Swans.
It's tight everywhere. Long ball. It's Mumford at the back, just worked it to ground. Mitchell got hands to it, but then coughed it up. White, a little handball. And McGlynn got sat down.
Luke Hodge put him on his backside.
That was nice. Burgoyne at the back, just off a step, goes long. McVeigh and Spanger. And no real contest there, Gary. And Puopolo walks it out of play to be thrown in 70 from home.
As if Sydney are forced to go down the line, that suits Hawthorn because the pack verges, and when it hits the deck, they're more agile than their opponents.
5 minutes in, just the one behind of the Swans. Half forward, Hale from the ruck stoppage, picked up his own footy. Puopolo went off the ground, but coming the other way was Bird, and then he got tackled nicely by Hale. No free kick doing. There is now, and it's a high hit on Jordan Lewis.
Keith's certainly gone to Mitchell. Sam Mitchell's had a little bit of the footy. 3 handballs already.
So Lewis 60 metres out, and he's got a short one. He likes Bradley Hill, and a bit of loose checking there. He was free for a while inside 50, and Hill now within scoring range. He'll have to kick it about 48.
Yeah, well, the Swans were just zoning back. They were protecting that dangerous space, probably 30, 40 out, and Hill was just able to stand there by himself.
Clumsy from Mumford, the free kick against Lewis. This young man's just going to go back and absorb the pressure of a final and kick the goal. He'll feel much better about himself.
So directly in front, lines up from 47 metres, Bradley Hill. The Hawks stands behind the goals, love it. There's the first of the 2013 final series. It goes to a young man called Bradley Hill. The Hawks are 1 straight 6. Swans the one behind. Triple M Momentum Energy scoreboard.
I like the way they've settled, the Hawks. I know it's very, very early, but there's real heat and pressure on out there at the moment. And this is why it defines great players. Often you'll hear us say, you know, who's a good player, who's a great player. Well, this month really works it out. And already on occasions I've seen a few out there. Andreas Everett just a little bit jumpy with the footy. That's why it was important for Hill to go and kick that goal. So early days, but nice settling goal for the Hawks.
1 straight 6 Hawthorn, and just the one behind the Swans.
So Tom Mitchell's playing defensive forward on Brink Guerra, who I think is so important to Hawthorn.
We're back in the middle. Mumford jumps in, gets a hand down. Bird comes in off the line. Little handball, misses White, who goes back and gets it. Finds himself in some room, then kicks it into Jude Bolton's head. Goes back and gets it, White. Hand on end inside 50, Tippett. Was he held? No. Here comes the big Canadian. He comes wandering through, and it's kicked off the ground for a goal.
Tippett.
By Tippett, courtesy of the big man Mike Pike. So a nice combination. There's the tall stuff working. Momentum Energy scoreboard 1-1-1 straight, and we have played 7.5.
Well, Big Pikey, that was just fantastic play because you don't expect it. It was White that followed up his work, but it was Pike's ground ball. He was able to just flick it in front. Gibson, massive mistake by Gibson, went to ground, and Pike was able to paddle it in front of himself.
The handball over the head.
It was very clever. It was very rugby union-like, wasn't it? The way he just, that would have been knock-on, Gaz, but just the way he kept it in front. It was a very smart handball, and clever by Tippett too, to realise he couldn't take it. He would have probably been caught just to put it on the boot.
A couple of big boys combined for the Swans' first goal, and back in the centre. Pike who set it up. Got his hand on it. Kennedy's clean hands back to Malcheski. He'll drive a long one inside 50. Sitting underneath this one was fisted away from Tippett. Spills out. Now Mitchell's running onto it. Hodge has got to give chase. Did he tackle him without the foot? He play on's the call. Correct one. Hodge comes back in and he's going to wrap this up with some real aggression. 20 metres out directly in front of Sydney's goal.
3-zip out of the centre early for the Sydney Swans, which is important. Tom Mitchell, Sean, he's loving this September action.
Comes to Kennedy from the stoppage. Kicks it high. Misses it behind. Oh, the Swannies are 1-2-8. Hawthorn are 1 straight 6. Momentum Energy scoreboard. Guerra to bring it back in. And he's just got to pause because there ain't much to go to.
Canterbury with Isaac Smith. That's another matchup on the outer wing. Two of the hardest running players in the league.
Goes with a low one. Just touched, I reckon, by McGlynn.
Yep.
Broke it up. Picked up by Parker's a really impressive kid. Got it back to McGlynn. They just pump it in long for the big boys. They come from all directions. Tippett couldn't hang on to it. Hanbury off a step. And he misses. The lot, no, just a behind. So 1-3-9 Sydney, 1 straight Hawthorn, Triple M Momentum Energy scoreboard.
Well, it's very predictable footy by Sydney. They know that they've got the big targets up there. They're prepared under pressure to just kick it in long. All the smaller players know that it's going to go to one spot. They're at the feet.
Almost man on man, Duck and Gaz in his kick out, which is something you see too often. Guerra goes to himself, and that's a beautiful ball.
That's why he's so important, Brent Guerra. People don't acknowledge him, I don't think. His distribution's outstanding.
Found Stratton with a 50-metre bullet. He goes short to Birchall, and now happy to concede back to Guerra. They're going to come out members side of the MCG, and they've got a bit of an overlap here to Lake. Further afield is Hodge. And they might be able to get this one to Gibson. Well, that's covered off by McGlynn.
Yeah, and that is great football from Sydney, Duke. You get 2 free players in your back half, and then they hold them up and make them do this.
Well, Hodge tried to bite off a handball to Burgoyne, which probably wasn't on. So now under pressure, Hodge gets it. They go now via a succession of handballs. Gibson back to Hodge. He hacks one down the line. It'll bounce across for a boundary throw in. About 75 out from the Hawks' goal. They trail by 3 points. We're 10 minutes into the first quarter.
Yeah, that's the advantage of going one-on-one, Gaz. That first kick they can usually get, but then the second, third kick's hard when it's one-on-one all over the ground.
Even Mumble's getting involved in the full ground pressure, which is rare for Duke's mob. This kick forward, not able to mark it anyone. Oh, Bearded Malcho sat down. It's physical, Gary.
It is.
There's heat everywhere.
I like us, the umpires. Now let's have a look on the Chemist Warehouse. It wasn't a free kick, that. So you got to let it go, umpire.
Going up.
September.
Grundy wants to handball to Everett. Everett now wants to find someone short in Smith. He does. And Smith just holds it up at half-back, and now he goes back to Everett. Everett off a step. Long ball forward. Rowan stands and fists it to the back. Burgoyne normally pretty clean. Over the top to Gibson. He's closed down by McGlynn, but gets a good handball to Burgoyne. Look out. Rowan's got the wheels. Stratton did well. Handball forward to Spanger. Spanger off a step, just wobbles one forward. Hale will get caught behind Everett. Hale did pretty well. Won the ball to the front, then went to ground. Everett as well. Hill off with the one hand. Rampy then, and he's held Rampy. Released the ball to Grundy. Grundy unable to win it. Stratton did. High inside forward 50. Rough head! Oh, got rid of his opponent, unable to take it. Now 4-on-4. Ruff went and got it. Got taken in a good tackle. Hill again. He's about 30 out. Manages to work it forward, but only as far as McVeigh.
Well, marks on his own goal line, Jared McVeigh. Went back and did the goaltending in the end. It was well played. Short one to O'Keefe. Still 15 metres out.
This is a bit of defensive effort from the Hawks. They had frees all the time on the way out last time, Sydney.
They've really slowed them down, Gaz, as you point out. So he's got to come long down the line. Pike gives a good contest. Front and centre, Isaac Smith picked it up cleanly. Handball's back. It's Guerra's long ball. Spanger got bumped off it, but he might have got a push. Spanger's got it. Jim's man.
What?
Stupid play.
It looked like a genuine push, Gaz.
Well, I reckon that Spanger was covered anyway, and Jared McVeigh just shoved him. And Malcheski was there. Rampy was going to be in the contest. Just shoved him for no reason.
Yeah, just
brain fade.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Matt Spanger,
Jim's man.
6th game of AFL football. He is directly in front. 0-3 from set shots in 2013 as this man Spanger, but has to kick this. 20 metres out. No angle to worry about. City end with the MCG. Slots it home, Spanger. And they get around him a bit. Can't believe it, McVeigh, but it's 2 straight 12 Hawthorn, 1-3-9 Sydney, Triple M Momentum Energy scoreboard, 13-minute mark, first quarter.
How many games has he played this year, Two-Man?
This is just his 4th game for Hardyacker.
4th game this, and what's his average disposal?
He's 14 disposals, Duck.
Yeah, 14.
Per game.
He came in last week essentially.
I've got to be honest. I haven't seen him play, and I saw him at training during the week, and I thought he was staff.
And good evening to Mr. and Mrs. Stanger. He's kicked the goal in the big final against the Swannies, so that's a good thing. It's a good contest, 11 tackles to 7, so the Hawks have got the tackle count up where they want it.
Mumford will jump into Bailey, does exactly that. Lewis did well to Mitchell. The follow-up from Mumford and Bailey was good. Kick forward by Hodge to half forward. Goes over the back of the bearded Malcho. Bruce gets smashed into. And the ball on the ground outside 50 will be balled up.
The other important thing is Hawthorn have laid 5 tackles in the forward half of the ground. Sydney yet to lay a tackle in the forward half. We've got a blood rule with Luke Bruce, I think. He's going to wander off and get that sorted out. So 5 tackles in the forward half is a good result from a Hawthorn point of view.
Duck and Gaz, I'm just watching Sydney apply pressure on Sam Mitchell. They close his space down better than the other side. How much of the footy's he had so far, Stu?
6 disposals.
He's the leading possession winner on the ground.
All under pressure, though, Gaz.
He's going at 100%, though. So
take that back.
But you're right. But that's how good a player Sam Mitchell is. But they understand your point is really well made.
Seems like a team focus. If they see him, they run at him as hard as they can.
Yep.
So it's a ball up here, half forward for the Hawks, picked up by Lewis, back to that man Mitchell, hacked the kick forward, Spanger kicked the last goal, a little fumble from Manso. Spanger's applying huge pressure. His kick ricocheted off the Swans' shin, which was Grundy. They get it back to McVeigh. He comes out to half back, Mike Pike, Blake happy to see this one across for a boundary throw-in. 70 out from the Hawthorn goal on the great southern stand wing side of the MCG. It's the Hawks by 3 points.
Thrown in. Mumford again with Bailey to the back, and Mumford works it down. McGlynn was taken in a really good tackle. No, got a push. Only just.
Sam Mitchell chasing down Ben McGlynn ain't going to happen too often.
No, it wasn't there, I don't reckon either.
Let it roll, boys.
Chemist Warehouse replay screen. It's the final umps. As McVeigh has it at centre half back. Goes for a short one to Bird. Closed down by Gibson brilliantly.
Great effort.
And then the tackling in the Sydney Swans wins it back. McGlynn wide. Smith left foot ball into the middle, into the corridor. Jack inside 50, trying to get a touch ball to Rowan, who got back to the footy brilliantly.
Well, that was just pure speed to be able to get around his opponent and end up getting onto the footy. That was just terrific play. Ran around Stratton. Stratton was too worried about the body, Gary.
Have you seen much of this boy? He could almost be the quickest player playing AFL footy.
Yeah, no, I've seen a little bit of him. He is super quick.
He's chased down from behind. He closes better than anyone I think I've seen for a long, long time.
Real X-Factor unit is Gary Rowan, and he'll get excited if he slots this. Don't worry. Kick on the way. Look out. Oh, there it is. Just a little early one, Duke. I got plenty more. Rowan slots it. 2 straight 12 Hawthorn. 2-3-15 Sydney. Momentum Energy scoreboard.
Well, Duke, he is going to get better and better. This is a bloke who's only played, I think, how many? 2 or 3 or 4?
3 games.
This is his 4th game.
3 games, the 4th game in.
Once he gets that sort of gut running into him, those efforts are going to become more and more frequent. And Jim, the X Factor is a beautiful way to describe him, because if they can continue to roll, you'd reckon by grand final day he'd be absolutely cherry ripe. So that's a big result.
Coming back from that horrific broken leg, and there's a stage there, it looked like he's going to have a permanent limp. So to see him out here on a big final with that leg speed is a brilliant sight to see for anyone who loves AFL footy. It's the Swans by 3 points. We're back in the centre. Hard footy to be won. Luke Parker's a good young player. He gets to his feet and forces a handball forward. Hodge has to contend with Jesse White, and he won it beautifully, Hodge. Well, now he took off a bit on the right foot. Look at that duck. It was superb to Mitchell at half-back.
Well, finals footy, you got Mitchell, Hodge. They're just built for finals footy. They're built for that contested ball. And I tell you what, that's where White's got to be really careful, that Hodge doesn't get too much of the ball off half-back.
Well, right now they love the matchup, because he hasn't been able to hit him up in the air at all, and he's getting footy off half-back.
What's he doing, White, then, Gary? Looked like he was going up as a spare.
No, he don't know what he's doing.
That can't be what he's meant to do,
he really is one of Duke's boys.
off half-back here, the Hawks. Tried a couple of handballs. Whitecross just got a little one to Hill. Hill steps around the boundary, comes inboard with another handball to Whitecross, who was allowed to run on. Kicks a sack, just floats it forward. Jordan Lewis in best position. The bounce is perfect for Gunston. Gunston, the left foot ball. Rough head, late fist. That's really good from Ted Richards. You heard from the boys. This is a dangerous kick. O'Keefe makes it work and gets a free.
They got a free kick
And I think they're going to pay advantage, so they'll bring it away. Jude Bolton's got some work to do. They'll try and draw a handball here.
Oh.
It was a tough, hot one. Really wasn't set up at all for Kennedy. Kennedy just spiked it into the path of Bird. Bird back to Kennedy. It is wonderful pressure. Back to Bird. Eventually the numbers work for the Swans. Smith over the top. That's not a great handball. Mitchell stands up in the tackle brilliantly. Back to Kennedy on the wing. Kennedy's kick into the path of Sewell. Still they work. This is White now able to run onto it. Outside 50, straightens up. Goes for Tippett with a beautiful ball. He gets the jukes up and takes a big clunker. Top of the square.
Hey, that passage of play there almost sums up what these two sides
plays
are
on, runs around Gaz and kicks the sausage. So Tippett's got his second.
God's name.
I know he just took a level of piss in a big final. 3-3-21 to 2 straight 12. Triple M Momentum Energy scoreboard.
He's marked that footy almost in the goal square directly in front and ran around and kicked it around his body. That's just beyond.
Well, that is a guy that lacks confidence, Gaz, in his ability to be able to kick a golf ball from that distance. Is not very, very strange, but well,
he's got two on the board, Duke. Sorry, Duck. But what we've got to do is go back to the passage. The pressure from Hawthorn in an outnumbered situation coming out of their forward line was magnificent, but they don't ever give up, Sydney. And they persisted and persisted. And that man, Tommy Mitchell, him and Luke Hodge have been the two physical warriors.
Well, right now, Sydney just getting on top in that 50-50, that 1 metre test, just doing a little bit better than Hawthorn.
Horrific bounce. It favoured Max Bailey. Smashed it forward, but again, it's picked up by the Swans. Parker drives him to half forward. Tom Mitchell's playing a nice role, getting back Sewell. Burst his way through a bit of heat. Got it to Guerra. Raking left foot kick. Richards has got Spanger covered. Looking to run away with it. Centre wing. They get an overlap run back to Teddy Richards. Hands it off. O'Keefe involved to Hanbury. He comes sideways, and I think Andreas Everett's been spoiled by Fiopolo. Picking it up now. It's a turnover. Shields gets it to Smith. Running back with a flight. Bruce kick long. Inside 50. What's the bounce like? He runs onto it. Kieran Jack did super. He got back. Wrapped him up in a tackle. Now Gunston's got a turn. Hacks one across the body to Hale. Was he taken high? Umpire said play on. Maybe a little lucky there. Coming through Gunston. He's on forward 50. Hale comes back again over the top. Sweezy handball back to Spanger. Has a flying shot at goal. Hill's going to compete with two. Grundy fisted it over the end pretty cleverly. And a boundary thrown right forward pocket. 20 around from the Hawks goal, Gaz.
Anyone who dares suggest that they would not miss Buddy Franklin, I mean, go to Spanger and go to Hale or go to Franklin.
He might have been a touch unlucky there, the old Baldy Hale, but he did play for it as well. Here's Mitchell. Handball back to Sewell just outside 50. Steps around a couple as a flying ping. Sully hits it nicely. Touched on the line.
What about that chase from Kieran Jack? Gaz, it was that just sums up.
He's never going to miss it.
It was just brilliant.
3-3-21 to 2-1-13.
I've got to worry.
Triple M McDonald Momentum Energy score.
Worrying stat for Rough, Jim Boy.
Yes, go on.
Held goalless in his last two finals.
Now Chesky got it moving to Grundy to Richards. And they get it to centre wing. Here's Jesse White with some athleticism. Pop the handle over the top to himself, if you don't mind. He got it again. And he might have just tried a little more tricks, and he's got the trick back there, Jesse.
You don't get your ambitions mixed up with your capabilities.
No, correct. And that one has gone Hawthorn's way. Hale now has it. He's on centre wing. Goes short, Hale, and find Hodge in front of McVeigh. Gets it moving quickly, Hodge on his left foot. Looking for Gunston over his head. A little too tall for that man. Getting back Richards, reading it nicely. His short one to Spanger, who on one step snaps to the goal square. An awkward bouncing footy. Hill can pick this up and do some damage. Hands it back to Sewell. Left foot kick smothered beautifully. Ricochets to Hill. His quick kick misses to the near side. And a minor score. 2-2-14 Hawthorn. 3-3-21 Sydney. on the Triple M Momentum Energy Scoreboard.
Well, it's an
Go
unbelievable pace, isn't it?
It is.
Just pressure from both sides. It goes from one end of the ground to the other, but like you said, it's just that the players just don't have that room or space to use it properly.
Malcheski kick to himself, long in the Tippett direction, hands to it at the back.
Oh, Mark.
Lake, that's not a mark, I don't reckon, because Tippett got first hand. That's maybe the umpire's interpretation. Gibbo did well to box on. Handball into some traffic. Bird went back and found it at half back. Kicked a real floaty one forward. And that might end up going out of play. It does now.
Righto, so just we've played now 23 minutes. You'd have to say that Sydney are much more dangerous when they go forward than Hawthorn, because Gunston doesn't look imposing, Hale doesn't look, Ruff's not getting anywhere near it, and Bruce can't get a hold of it.
Big Mumbles went to ground. It got thumped out the back. McVeigh will make a play on this. And he keeps it in no. It goes over same spot.
Kieran Jack, number 1 ranked player on the ground. 7 disposals and 6 pressure acts for Hardyaker.
7 points, the Swans lead. 3.5 remaining in the first term. The boundary thrown here at half forward. Max Bailey, Mike Pike, Piopolo picks it up first. Tackled and swung the full 360 by Malcho. Play on's the call. Piopolo gets it to half forward. Hale's wrapped up in a strong Sydney tackle by Grundy. Picking it up now, Rampy. He just reached this one long down the line. Lake went underneath it. At the back, Guerra. Swooping handball into the corridor. Finds Gibson. He goes back to Hodge. Hodge looks up and he likes the option of Shields. Beautifully weighted foot into centre forward. Lands Shields back in the side. He's going to get it moving. Hands it off to Birchall on his favoured left. Comes out wide to Ruff. Second attempt. Ruff's got it.
That's set up by Luke Hodge, Gaz. He gets that ball on half back. He had 3 or 4 options. Chose the more difficult one up the middle of the ground, but it was the right one.
And he's the only time when he gets a foot in his hand, that's when you think something's going to happen because of his creative ability. Ruff's got to catch fire, boys, if Hawthorn are going to win the game. You'd think at this stage.
6 Hawk to win a Coleman medal. Jared Ruffhead hasn't found the going easy tonight. He starts at left and it's going to stay there. Mish to the near side.
Come on, Ruff.
2-3-15 Hawthorn. They trail the Swans 3-3-21. Triple M Momentum Energy Scoreboard.
Malcheski to bring it back in. Short he goes. Smith had a bit of an early chew-up.
He has his racked up 6 Hardyaker stats.
Thank you very much. Goes to Rampy. And his left foot ball's not great. Brian Lake able to hold up, but then dropped the mark and then fell on top of the footy and caused himself some problems. Parker got involved. So too did O'Keefe, the Norm Smith medalist. It's on the wing member's side and it'll be thrown up.
Can't drop that mark, Brian Lake. That's the bottom line. The big final time in the forward half. 60% for the Hawks, 40% for Sydney.
Picked off by Lewis, but not able to get a clean disposal. Just in tight, they're doing better, the Swans. Smith high. This ball's going to land in the arms of Rowan. Just couldn't quite take the mark, but he kept it going forward. Gibson now in best position. Centre of the ground. Slid in, got the handball to Mitchell.
He's playing a game, this bloke.
Mitchell thumping handball. Look at Ruff now, Gary. Get on the end of this and have a ping from 45. This is the man.
Get around, Mitchell.
This is the man, Ruffhead. Slots it. You can talk about Mitchell in the second, Gary, but Big Ruff's got his first, and a bit of a look to the Triple M box saying, Wolf, top some of that. 3-3 each on the Momentum Energy scoreboard.
Ruff has had to run onto the end of that, Gaz. He's probably ran 20, 30 metres, kicked the goal, ran back to the centre circle, high-fived everyone and off the ground.
Well, he's buggered himself.
Why come off the ground?
No, exactly.
Surely you could jog back to the forward line and not use as much energy as he did just then.
Particularly a 27-minute mark of the first quarter. But Sam Mitchell, he's had 10 touches and 4 score involvements. And the Hawks have only had 6 scorers. So that man there, Mitchell, he looks like he's quick tonight. He's just playing quick.
Jim's up and about. Ruff's on the scoreboard. The Coleman medalists 3-3, 21 apiece. Minute 30 remaining in the first quarter. Here come the Swans out of the centre. Look at the courage
Hodge.
going back with Hodge. It spills to Stratton. Guerra picks it up back to the man who broke it up at the start. Hodge to half back. Lewis has got to pick this up. Kieran Jack came in off his shins. And a boundary throw in 70 out from the Swans goal.
And footy's never this simple, boys, but Hodge and Mitchell are the two. Yep. Hodge is the bloke who's saying, not on my watch,
They are
going
the
to get
footy
away.
brains. They are the 2 footy brains out there.
Mitchell is the user and distributor, so they've got to shut him down some way.
That's Lewis there, able to get a ball onto his boot and just bash it forward. Hill not favoured by the bounce at all, but the Hawks are able to get Bruce. went with the handball backwards. Not sure why, because there was
Ted
trouble
Richards
back
was
there.
down in the hole on his own.
That's why we got the best analysts in the business watching this game. Ball out of play, and it's going to be thrown in 70 from home. We've got 50 seconds left. It is 21 apiece.
Yeah, Hodge is playing on White and or Bolton. Hodge has had 10. White and Bolton haven't touched it.
You're right, Gazzo. They're the real architects. They're the guys that set everything up for Hawthorn. Who are Sydney's architects? Who are those guys? I mean, we know Kieran Jack is a terrific player, but probably not the footy brain that the other two have got.
White Cross gets it inside 50. Now an opportunity for the Hawks. Still time to score. Sewell picks it up. Gets it back to Isaac Smith. Launches one from 50. It looks right off the boot. Isaac just drifts across the face. Now the Hawks get the lead. 3-4-22 by 1 point. 3-3-21. The Sydney Swans on the Triple M Momentum Energy scoreboard. 30 seconds remaining in the first quarter.
Kick into O'Keefe. The runners have been out there, so everyone knows the clock situation.
So at quarter time, they're going to say, someone put your hand up for Luke Hodge. They have to.
O'Keefe long down the line. Tippett got rid of his direct man, but then was unable to take the mark, and Gibbo goes out.
Because he's playing across half back, and he's quite legitimately, when they were under pressure the most, he was the one that stood up physically. And now they're in front, it's come through his ball use and Sam Mitchell. Yep. So someone needs to take him.
Hawks by a point. Been a very entertaining first quarter of this final series. O'Keefe somehow managed to get boot to ball. Bird tried to get boot to ball. Have they got enough time? 2 seconds, 1 second. I'm not sure. There's your siren. So 1 point the lead to the Hawks. 5 lead changes in that first term, hard yakka style. Very, as I said, entertaining stuff at the MCG. Hawthorn 3-4-22, Sydney 3-3-21. Gaz and the Duck, as well as Duke, Tuman, Howie and the Doc down on the boundary. That was all on the Momentum Energy scoreboard, by the way. Switch online for easy steps at momentumenergy.com.au. From McDonald's, you'll hear all the analysis from all the boys after this. It's Triple M Rocks Finals football. Welcome back to the MCG quarter time. It is the Hawks by a point, 3-4 to 3-3. Gary Lyons with us, as is Wayne Carey.
Well, it was a great opening quarter of this 2013 final series. It was everything you'd want in a final. It was hard, it was tough, it was frenetic early. There hasn't been the brilliance, but that often happens in finals because they are so competitive and so even, and particularly when you get these two sides. Right now, when Sydney go forward, I feel like they're more likely to score. Now, they haven't been forward as much, or they haven't, certainly 14-8 inside 50 in favour of Hawthorn. But when they do go, they're dangerous. And on the other end of the scale, I haven't seen a game this year too often where two men have had such an influence. I'm talking about Hodge and Mitchell.
Yeah, Hawthorn winning just about all the stats except for contested possessions. It's fairly close, but Sydney just up. And I agree with you, Gaz. Although they look dangerous, on the flip side of that, and this is what we said at the start of the game, that's when Hawthorn look at their most dangerous because of the Mitchells and the Hodges off half-back. They just look like they've got more agility and they're using the ball better off half-back, and that's where all of it's been set up. So Sydney, for mine, right now, they look like, and as you said, they look like they're going to score, but they do almost look too tall. And as I say that, look at that, White's out there, but Rowan's came out, he's back on the ground, so that gives him a little bit more speed up there.
Well, it just means that Hodge can go to Jesse White, and right now that's the defining matchup that isn't working for Sydney. I'd get Rowan onto Hodge, or someone that's going to make him at least a bit more accountable.
Well, he almost pays him no respect at all, does he? He just does what he wants.
Let's get down to Howie. Thanks to Kasha.
A great contest on ground level, really, really tight. A lot of pressure involved. Luke Hodge, he talked about his game. Quarter time, went over to the assistant coaches, Ratton and Simpson, and started geeing them up, asking for instructions, looking what the Hawks need to do.
Kasha, high pressure cleaners, well done to you. We're going to get to the two-man in just a sec for hard yakka, but we've got a clearance out of the middle. In fact, a free kick is going out of the middle of the Swans. Chewer.
Jordan Lewis, 8 disposals and 4 clearances.
Yes, it's Kennedy who comes up with the ball and goes long inside 50. Pike on this occasion has it fisted away from him to the ground level. The bounce wasn't great for McGlynn. Guerra worked his way through. Mitchell with just the one hand did brilliantly well. Handball on the up to Sewell. Sewell tried to drag a free. Now he's in trouble. Did the footy come out? No. And the umpire's going to ball it up half forward for the Swans.
Gaz, that was Hodge again that ran back with the flight and got that spoil. White has to get dangerous. He can't just sit in that middle, come up into where the ball's being thrown up. He's got to get dangerous.
Hawks with a 1 point lead. Early stages, second term. Kieran Jack kicked around the footy inside 50. Gary Rowan involved. Picking it up, Jude Bolton. He's dumped in a Stratton tackle. Hacked out of the ground by Max Bailey. Only gained a metre. There's a lot of numbers around this footy. We're going to see a lot of that tonight in the big final. And a ball up 45 out from the Sydney goal. As they get a lot of numbers back inside forward 50. Mike Pike over the top. Diopolo, he gets wrapped up immediately, and we're going to do it all again.
Sewell's got with Kieran Jack. Not sure whether he was with him in that first quarter, but he now got a lockdown on Kieran Jack.
And Tiverton Lake in the goal square. Kennedy trying to pick it up. Sewell wraps him up. Diopolo in there. Kieran Jack, Mitchell, Gibson. A lot of numbers around the footy, and we'll have a third ball up. Still inside 50 here for the Sydney Swans.
They love this, the Swans. They love repeat stoppages.
Third up was the big Mumbles. And managed to find a free kick out of all of this. It's a holding free, and it's going.
Mitchell. Off the footy.
Off the footy to Isaac Smith.
Hanbury on Isaac Smith. Those two blokes, I'd love to get their GPS at the end of this match. They'll be up over 15 Ks, I reckon.
Well, this will spread the field a bit, that free, as Mitchell distributes wide to Hodge. Best on ground last week and on track again, short to Whitecross. Whitecross at half back. Hills worked really hard, the gut running.
Great run.
And takes it at half forward. Looks around. Bruce is going to get closed down, but took a good mark. He's outside 50. Sees something he likes inside 50. Ruff gets nowhere near it. Ted Richards able to get a fist in there. Grundy now.
Oh.
Happy to see it over. And it's going to be thrown in, punt road in very deep.
Now Mitchell again involved, off half back. Hodge already, we said, had an influence.
So it's the Hawks now, deep in attack. Max Bailey. And he forced his way onto the footy there, got rid of Mummy, not easy to do. Comes out McVeigh's way. He's going to be happy to see this over for another boundary throw in about 30 around from the Hawks goal, Gav.
And look at Luke Hodge now. He's a kick away from this stoppage. He's got Mike Pike. He doesn't care. He just goes to where he wants to go. At the moment, he's dictating terms.
Again, Bailey in front. Mumford got over the top this time. This footy won't come out again on the bottom. Well, it does in the end. Isaac Smith forced it out. It's good effort. Kennedy now. It gets moved. The umpire let it go for a long time. Rampy to that contest Gaz spoke about. Pike and Hodge. Hodge did well to get at the ground level, and he comes up with the footy. Although it was smothered beautifully by McGlynn. Hodge goes back, gets his own footy, releases Saul, kicks it in the forward 50, dangerous spot. Oh, well done, Mummy. Fisted away, Whitecross picks it up.
Oh, yeah.
Gets it out the rough to Birchall on his left foot. He should kick this one. Birchall on the run. How does it bend? Just fades late. It looked good off the boat, but in the end a minor score. 23 plays 21, the Hawks by 2 points. Triple M Momentum Energy scoreboard.
There's not only Hodge and Mitchell winning their own ball, but they've got 15 handball received now between them. So Hawthorn know they want to get it into their hands because they know they use it so well.
Now Chesky to himself and then to the outer side. Free kick going to Pike.
And they can live with that because Hodge got at the ground the last contest and got 2 possessions. So they'll cop that.
Handball off to McVeigh, who goes short to Tippett, who's a long way from home. He goes a long way down the line, but Gibson was in front, fisted away from him. Jude Bolton haven't called his name too often. To O'Keefe. High ball from O'Keefe. Real messy ball. Goes out of play, 45 out. To be thrown in. 2 point lead to the Hawks. 3-5 to 3-3. And we are, 4.5 minutes in on the Bunnings Warehouse scoreboard to this second term. Sewell end on end. Down the line, Hale gets taken out of it by Grundy. Goes back and accesses the ball, gives it to O'Keefe. O'Keefe then to Rampy. Rampy a left foot high one. Pike in best position wearing a Swans jumper. Took a really good mark.
Fitty. Gotta be Fitty.
Knocked it out, Josh.
It is.
Hey,
Fitty.
Josh Gibson knocked the ball out of the hands of Mike Pike. Now that was the crossover, so Pike works his way down, and Gibson was the man that had to take responsibility for him and didn't. It was a very clever mark, by the way, from Mike Pike. Really skillful one hand and marked it. So he's having an impact.
And a brain fade from Gibbo gives the Swans the lead. Kicks it. 4-3, 27, 3-5, 23. Bunnings Warehouse scoreboard.
Well, he does that really well, Gaz. He just had a clever mark. He does that week after week, and he's done it all year. He has an ability to stop the ball in the air and almost tap it to himself. Very, very good at it. And it was a clever mark, and you're right, it was just a brain fade by Gibson. But this guy, well, this is no fluke. He played well in the finals last year, played well in the grand final, and has had a terrific year.
Yeah, he's a star. The Swans 4 inside 50s to 2 this quarter, so starting to get it forward a little bit more. Kennedy and Lewis been a good battle. Kennedy's just having his head for the afternoon against Jordan Lewis.
Yeah, Kennedy 11, Lewis 8, hard yakka.
And Mike Pike gives the Swans the lead back by 4 points. Max Bailey gets over the top. The clearance will go Sydney's way. Kick forward by Kieran Jack, the half forward. McGlynn had to fist it away from him. Bit of a leg race, McVeigh and Whitecross. Whitecross did really well there. Got away from McVeigh, back to Burgoyne. Left footer under pressure. Isaac Smith and Hanbury's been an interesting matchup. This time Hanbury wins the one-on-one to Kieran Jack, to Parker, back to Jack, centre wing, members side. Jack's punching footy to White. He should mark it. He does well.
That's better.
They get it moving here, the Swans. Everett can run. He slides to 50 and launches a long ball. So got the legs. Gibson will mark it right on the goal line. And it was just a matter of inches away from being a great goal.
Yeah, but what we saw though is Jesse White hit up on Hodge. You've got to lead up on him. Don't rely on your height. Lead up and make him play honest.
Rare foot error from Burgoyne, and the ball goes over 55 out. Enjoying a nice couple of minutes here, the Swans. 4-3-27, Hawthorn 3-5-23. 7 minutes into this second term. From the throw-in, Bailey double-fisted to the front. Mitchell, Bird. His kick lands inside 50. Hodge just spikes it out of there. Bailey picked it up. Shocking handball to Sewell. To Puopolo, who's also been real quiet. Sewell went back and got it and bounced it down the line. And Grundy takes it over.
They're just having a little purple patch here, Sydney. Hawthorn struggling to get it outside their defensive half.
7.5 minutes into the second quarter. Sydney by 4 points. They've kicked the only goal in the second term through Mike Pike. He competes now with Hale. O'Keefe got the clearance forward. Only gained about 25 metres along the boundary line. McGlynn and Burgoyne. That one won't stay in. So a boundary throw-in, Gav.
You've almost got to get a message out to the Swans, and they probably did at quarter time, to hit up Jesse White. I'm fascinated with the duel. Hodgie's playing 15 metres off him at the moment.
Hale directs it down, looking for Bruce. Bird sat on the footy and might be in a bit of strife. There he is. He had prior play on from Mitchell, just stood up and ran with the footy. That kick's going to favour Rampy though. Gunston got caught behind Rampy, read it well. And now with the left foot, that's a beautiful looking ball. Or maybe just a bit too high in the end for O'Keefe over his head. Fortuitously it spills to Parker. He's got Bird now running. Left foot kick under pressure. Inside 50. Getting back. Hodge read it beautifully and stood up strong in front of Mummy. And Hodge has got the benefit of the doubt and received a free kick here at true centre halfback.
He goes with a real 45-degree ball. Looking for Smith. Good mark.
I think it's
It is the Shields, Gary. He's got it centre of the ground. Goes to Gunston. Heading up, and that's a nice ball too.
Well, again, broken records. Luke Hodge just plonked himself in the hole and let Jesse White go and cut it off again.
Well, I'm not sure who's looking after Sydney's forward line, but they've got to tell White, don't go and stand up near the stoppage, because Hodge will just sit off you. White then stands out on the angle. Hodge just says, you know what, stand there all day. They're not going to. I'll read it. So whoever's looking after them, the message has got to go out. Get dangerous.
23-5 from set shots. This will take a good kick. He's outside 50. The Curly Austin ball hold. Hits the drop punt. Beautifully. Unbelievable kick from downtown Gunston. 4-3-27 Sydney. 4-5-29 Hawthorn. Bunnings Warehouse scoreboard.
Oh, it's a good game of footy. It is I was just about to say that this young man needed to perhaps step his game up. He's had 5 possessions, but he's got to hit the scoreboard, and he does generally. He has been able to when Buddy hasn't played, so that was an important kick. I'm loving the Sydney Swans work rate, which is just a hallmark of their game. They run. It's hard to get, unless you're actually at the ground, it's hard to get an insight into how hard they work for each other from one end to the other.
Well, Howie on the boundary line, thanks to Karcher.
Thanks, Dars. Hodge came off after that heavy contest where he got the free kick. The doctors tried to check out his ribs. He just pushed them away and said, I'm okay, let me back out there.
Just some low numbers for Sydney. Hanbury forward, Jude Bolton 2, Hard Yakka.
Hale got a free kick, crashed into by Pike. From the restart, the Hawks have got the lead back by 2 points. Mitchell's had a heap of the footy. He's going to punch this one inside 50. Spanger's back on the ground, over the back. Ruff's going to come up and meet it. Everett got there first. Hill applies some pressure for Hawthorn. Puopolo on the boundary line on forward 50. They did well. Hawthorn kept it back in. Puopolo dangerous kick round the corner. Well read by Richards. And he went back with the flight and took a chest mark on his own goal line.
Goes long in the Kennedy and Spanger direction. And free kick is going Spanger's way.
Well, he's doing all right. He's standing up in the hole. He's never going to create too much magic, but he's at least contesting.
Spanger Handball's off to Birchall. Birchall gets closed down by McGlynn, gets around him. Hoists a high one forward. Hale's got about 4 to beat in the air. Fist away, Isaac Smith at ground level. Andreas Everett footy out. 25 around from the behind post punt road end. 11 gone, second term, 2-point lead Hawthorn.
Deep in attack, they are the Hawks here. It's Hale, Pike. Liam Shields lurking. McVeigh read it beautifully, and his handball's chopped off by Spang. Had a little fumble, then ran into Hanbury. They dispossess him. Hanbury goes back and almost threw it out to Bolton. Through Kennedy's hands to Malcheski. Clears his defensive 50. Pike went back courageously and then won his own footy at ground level before Burgoyne mowed him down. They've turned it over here, the Hawks. Can they get it going? Saul back to Burgoyne. Runs through half forward, takes a bounce, then has a little fumble. Enough time to go back. Left foot chipping footy. Not great. Well done, Everett. Fisted away to Rampy, who's a really solid player, this man, Gaz. I know you're a fan. Stands up. Showed some composure there. Right foot kick to centre wing, though not his best effort. Gibson takes the mark on centre wing.
Great pressure from Puopolo coming out of the forward 50.
Hill inside 50, starting to surge here, the Hawks. Roughhead has it thumped away from him. Higgins, Spanger in the pocket. Oh no. Just a little fumble, Gary. Over it went to be thrown in inside forward 50, punt road in.
Well, that's what both sides, Gaz. The first 4 inside 50s at the start of the quarter, Sydney lock it in. Both sides are struggling once it's in their forward 50 to get it out. That's how good both sides' pressure is.
Puopolo, quick kick, quick handball, ended up with Grundy. And then Malcheski, and then Kennedy. Measures it to Parker, who'd spread nicely.
Oh, look at the
Jude
cat running.
Bolton,
Mitchell.
he spread. Look at Jack if it can get on the end of it. Mitchell short. Jack still going. He'll end up with it here. He's got plenty of room if it sits. Jack picks it up. No, has a little fumble. Allows him to close him down. Goes with a low inside 50 ball. Hanbury and run forward.
I tell you what, boys. Get your behind the ground vision of that, and you'll see what we talk about when you talk about Sydney gut running. Sam Mitchell is a workhorse animal. He couldn't go with Mitchell or McVeigh, and this bloke ran from one end of the ground to the other. And Isaac Smith, who Hawthorn people will tell you is a phenomenal distance runner, could not close Hanbury down.
To give the Swans back the lead. Left foot in the pocket. Drop punt. Just to behind. 4-4 to 4-5. Hawks by a point. Bunnings Warehouse scoreboard.
Fair bit of fatigue in that kick.
Yeah.
I think he just absolutely blew himself up, Hanbury. And Gaz pointing it out beautifully. It was incredible gut running. The torp from full back from Guerra. Gets it inside the centre square. Hale nearly marked it. Kieran Jack, though, is going to get it back for the Sydney Swans. Sliding in wide. Well, he should have marked it. Bounced off his chest. Footy's still alive. Bolton's been quiet. Gibson picks it up. Little hands to Mitchell's good. And his left foot kick heading towards the boundary line out there. Gunston. And also Andreas Everett, boundary throw in centre wing. Great southern stand side of the MCG. 1 point lead to Hawthorn, halfway mark. Second term, Gaz.
The Hawks have only had 3 more inside 50s in Sydney, but the inside 50 disposals 33 to 9. Sydney 9 touches in this side of their forward 50.
You can't cough that up in a final, Gary.
No, big Jess is going to wake up.
You're going to end up with Kennedy. Kennedy to centre half forward. Has a look at the goal face. Long ball's not great. Going to miss. It's now all tied up 4-5 apiece. Bunnings Warehouse scoreboard. 14 in this second term on a very enjoyable Friday night. Now they've got some available players. The Hawks, Guerra, one of them. The Goo goes to Spanger. Spanger takes it. Thought about going.
He thinks he's buddy Spanger at the moment.
Yep, and I suggest he stops thinking like that. As Spanger sees the short option. Nice one too. To Luke Bruce, who's 40 metres out, not much angle.
Well, that's just a bad miss from Joey Kennedy, really, because as soon as he missed it, all the Sydney players were offside, and the rebound just came out this side of the ground from the Hawthorn defence.
And White's mark as well, Gaz. Like that's under 10 stuff.
Bruce, set shot, nice. Pulled it as he must
Hit
have.
the post.
Just. So, bad miss for a player of his ability. Just to point the Hawks. Bunnings Warehouse scoreboard.
So Jared McVeigh, little flick to himself and now to Malcheski. Look at that for a bullet pass. Could not have been any better place. 45 metres it covered to Parker. And now they love giving it back to Malcheski. He does it again to centre wing. And Big Mummy's dropped the sitter on his chest. White can pick it up. They've come unstuck here big time, the big boys from Sydney. Spills to Birchall. Hawthorn will send it back in their forward direction. There's a Swan on the ground. It might be White, picks himself up. In the meantime, forward lead from Hale's good. He gets it moving quickly. Brewster one-on-one. Gets in front. Nick Smith did well. Got a fist hook. Jopolo took it.
Oh,
Slides away. Went to ground. Up by.
Come on up.
Called play on. Nothing doing for the Pooh. Coming back. Jordan Lewis kicked it off the ground almost into the face of Andreas Everett. And now the Swans have got numbers back there. And they should be able to clear through Parker. He gets it out to defensive 50 where Rowan has it fisted away by Burgoyne.
Gibson outside 50. Handball to Sewell. Back to Gibson. Runs the arc. Wants his left side. Sticks one inside 50. Not a great ball. Fisted away by Smith. Out of play.
Free kick, Smith. High contact. Push to the back.
What are the free kicks during this game?
Yeah, 8-all for Hardyaker.
Jesse White's just had a lamentable 10 minutes. Duke, you called him down. He ran into his teammate trying to tackle.
Oh, come on, Jess. Left foot punching ball. Everyone runs underneath it. Burgoyne at the back will be pretty happy to escort the footy out. And it'll be thrown in.
Just want to know the marks inside 50, Chua, because right now, as fatigue starts to set in, you're going to find some more space inside 50.
It's a 5-all for Hardyaker, Gary.
So pretty even. Working down there is Parker. No, it was Jack. To Kennedy, who's just starting to get involved. Got it to Bird. Bird went around the body. Little fumble there from Lake. Not sure how he's tracking Duke. You know him better than anyone.
He's dropped a couple, Jim, and that is his go. Marks from opposition kicks. He has a look at the hands, Big Lakey, but just had a couple of fumbles.
He's probably nervous. I mean, this is what he's been brought into the side for, so all the old campaigners have stood up, though.
Bailey down. Sewell picked it up. Kicked it up the chimney. About 3 players fly in the air. One of them was the bearded Malcho, went back with the flight. Puopolo tried to actually sit on top of the ball and still attempting to do that, in fact. And hasn't been able to get it out of there. Bailey could, just hacked it forward. Andreas Everett and Spanger. There's a matchup. And the footy goes over the line to be thrown in 70 from home. Just interesting size matchup, Gary.
Spanger has actually been all right. He's never going to be silk, but he's competed all right.
Yes, please.
Hawks at half forward. It's picked up by Parker. Quality young player. Out in the end to Kieran Jack. The skipper goes with his favoured left and finds Jesse White. That's a bit better, Jesse. 70 out. He's going to get it moving. He's got a target he likes in Rowan, who's directly in front. Make that
Mitchell.
The young man Mitchell, I should say, gets on his left. He's all class, but he hasn't struck this one at all well. And that is just snuck in for a minor score in the end. So it's all tied away here at the MCG. 4-6:30 apiece. Triple M Bunnings Warehouse scoreboard.
Bringing away the Hawks through Burgoyne. And he went to a player who fell over, which allowed McVeigh to come in, pick it up, and then a real ordinary handball allows Lewis to come in. He couldn't pick it up. Rare fumble from a player of his ability. Bird didn't fumble. Everett tried to sort of slot a handball through the legs of an opponent. Didn't work. Ball's out of play right in the interchange gates.
What you're seeing, Jim, is fatigue. This is now 19, 20 minutes into the second quarter of a really ferocious game, and you're seeing mistakes from the best players in the comp through fatigue.
30 points apiece. Kurt Tippett came on and then was unable to pick up the ball, and again it goes out of play and he'll belt forward.
Now Rowan at the moment looks to me, he's going to peel off Hodge. I thought he had Hodge for a minute, and Hodge goes back to White.
Hale and Mumford. Mumford down. Bird, left foot high ball. Here's Tippett and Lake. And Tippett wins his way to the front, but then couldn't take a mark. He probably should have taken in the end. Numbers here with the Hawks, and Hill just put boot to ball and got it going forward, but Big Mummy slotted in and took the mark.
So we're all locked away here. 30 apiece, 4-6:30. 5 3/4 minutes remaining in the first half. Malcheski kicks it along the boundary line. Half forward and off hands and out of bounds.
Slowing down the game, and it's starting to go to more packs at the minute, so they're going to try and get it into space and isolate forwards.
It'll be Hale and Mummy. Tippett deep inside 50, Lakes his opponent. O'Keefe picks it up to Bolton, to McVeigh. Really nice build up, that one. They go to that matchup. Lake, Tippett coming in from the side. Mike Pike, he's looked dangerous in the air. Picked up again, Mitchell. Left foot kick again, he shanked it. And it's gone all the way out of bounds on the full. It'll be a Hawthorn free kick in the left right back pocket.
Winning the ball okay, Mitchell, just panicking a little bit when he's got it.
Guerra to Birchall. And Birchall has to stop and wait. Gives a handball back to Guerra. And he goes with a Low, beautiful ball, hits Stratton. What a magnificent kick. Stratton doesn't break stride. Inside 50 with a high one. McVeigh's got to park himself under the ball. It got to the back and Grundy read it beautifully. Thumping handball to Jude Bolton. Last stages of his career. Little ball is going to work for the supremely hard-working Hanbury from Rampy.
Missed opportunity from Bruce. Did not play that well at all. Mistimed everything.
Hanbury's kick not good. Straight to Ruff. Outside 50. He slots it inside 50 to the man who doesn't miss. And Gunston has it. 40 out, not a hell of a lot of angle.
Well, really clever by Gunston. He started heading back towards the goal square, and I think it was Malcheski. Grundy was thought, well, that's where all the space was, and then had the nous to just duck back inside, and
this is what I was meaning, Duck. When going inside 50 at this time of the game, you're going to get free of your
bit of
forwards.
space.
If you're patient with the ball, give him a chance to get the separation.
So Gunston for his second. He doesn't look like he's hit that one anywhere near as well. In fact, almost out in the full, just to behind. A rare miss. And the Hawks are back out by point. There's been bugger all between these sides all night, Stuart.
Biggest lead of the game, JB, 9 points to Sydney. We've had 7 lead changes. Scores have been level 4 times.
Andreas Everett with the kicking duties. He gained about 70 metres to Tippett. Pike Tippett went down at ground level, wrapped up beautifully by Hodge. Jesse White with a check side on the run and not really well directed at all. Lake takes the mark at half back. He's got a bit of space here with Guerra. They can get it moving. He takes his time and now releases Whitecross. Can run through the centre. McGlynn gives chase and comes out wide. Maxie Bailey should mark this. And he does pretty well, Big Max. Still 2 kicks from home, so he lobs a long one inside 50. Ruff sets himself the early leap. Richards did it nicely. Bergman went front and centre, picked it up with his toes. Then had to go back and get the second effort. Rampy picked it up. Gunston's tackle, nearly holding the footy. No, says the umpire. Play on. In comes Saul, Richards, Mumford. And just a little lucky there. The ramp will have a ball up 25 metres out for the Hawks goal.
I reckon he might have just got a little handball on it. The Hawks fans don't like it.
To the outside of this stoppage, Bird. High down the line. Pike in front. Has it fisted away by Bailey. And it'll be thrown in. Geez, Richards a good player, Duck.
He certainly is. And it looks like Burgoyne now, Gary's gone forward. I mean, that's a good move by Clarkson. He's a clever player, can play all over the ground, and nearly snuck one then.
It's a very shallow boundary throw-in. And Ruckman really working hard to get even to the drop of the ball. Hanbury's great handball. Jude Bolton. Drop punt down the line. 2-on-2 to the front. Kennedy read it best, but then had a little fumble. And now we've got a stacks on situation. The umpire's watching. I think he wants to ping. He does. And it's going Kennedy's way.
And they've got him on the spread here. Luke Parker's got forward. They've got a fair player forward of the ball.
Gibbo slow to get up. Really hobbling.
Hawthorn average score for the year, boys, is 115 points a game. They've kicked 31 now just before half time.
So Kennedy, 2 and a bit minutes left. Sticks it inside 50. Fly from the back from Tippett, unable to take it. Whitecross gets taken in a big tackle. Mitchell gets it free for a push.
Clumsy from Tippett.
So Tippett Mitchell, I should say, at half back, runs around Tippett on the mark. He dumped after he possessed it. Nothing doing there. So centre wing, Sewell went hard at the footy in front of Parker. It's going to be picked up here by Bird. Got it back to Parker. He's tackled as he got rid of it. Richards just pushed up the ground. Sam Mitchell's had an enormous first half. Gets back in on hands and knees. Met with some O'Keefe pressure. Wrapped up his O'Keefe. Strong tackle applied in by Guerra. And the Hawks fans getting involved, but we'll have a ball up at half forward. Sam Mitchell's numbers, please, Joe.
16 Hardyaker stats.
As we look at Cyril Rioli on the Chemist Warehouse replay screen. Late withdrawal from the game. Hawks by 1 point. Minute 32 remaining in the half. Quick kick comes out to Gunston, who's pushed up and taken it at halfback.
1 point lead to the Hawks. They led by a point at quarter time. That's how tight this game's been. Gibson to Guerra to Lake.
They're out on the other side.
Yeah, it's Whitecross, I think, parked out there. Takes it. Has a bounce. Runs to the wing and kicks a shocking ball forward. Horrible ball to Jack. Jack somehow got it down the line to Bird, and now Mitchell. Mitchell, high ball inside 50, Tippett, this is what he's paid the dough for. Fisted away brilliantly by Gibson, what a great spoil. Jack went and got it, gave it to Tippett. Tippett stepped around a couple. The snap from Big Kurt across the face. Joey Kennedy comes in, tries to find a teammate with a handball, that's Pike. Pike back to Kennedy. Kennedy looks like he's under real fatigue. Now White picked it up, got some space from nowhere. The banana ball from White misses. And behind the result, and we're all tied up again, 4-7 each.
Have a look at Brian Lake down the defensive goal square. He's cooked, Brian Lake.
And Sam Mitchell as well.
He is absolutely fatigued. He couldn't lay the tackle then. So don't underestimate how intense this first half of footy's been.
So himself is Guerra. We've got 21 seconds remaining in the half, and he punches a short one to Stratton. Hawks want to clear this area. They get it to Mitchell. He's always clean. And now Birchall releases Sewell. They've still got time to score here, the Hawks. They need to take a mark. That kick won't stay in.
Honestly, Brad Sewell is a great warrior. He's had 19 possessions. He's going at 33% by foot. Don't kick, Brad. You had Birchall running in support, one of the great distributors. Give it to him.
He almost ran across his leg and forced him to handle it to him too, Gaz, as you just pointed out. 5 seconds remaining. Going to need a quick possession here from Hawthorn if they can get it inside 50. It's picked up though by Bird. And there's the half-time siren.
Great game.
4-7-31 apiece here in the first qualifying final. Massive stakes on this one. The winner the week off into the prelim. And we have got a cracker here. That's the Triple M Bunnings Warehouse scoreboard. When it comes to DIY and home improvement, you'll find everything you need to get the job done at your local Bunnings Warehouse. All the lowest prices guaranteed. The King is here. Wayne Carey, the Wolf, Gary Lyon, the Doc, Howie, James Brayshaw and the Two-Man. We are all tied up 4-7-31 apiece. The first qualifying final at the MCG. Don't go anywhere. An absolute cracker. As thanks to McDonald's, Triple M rocks finals football.
This quarter, laundry.
Oh, she's all tied up at half-time, 4-7-31, 4-7-31. Hawks, Swans, a beauty, another beauty. As I'm normally not involved at this time of the broadcast.
What are you doing?
Well, I just want to make sure you two are okay.
Well, it is important to announce that Chua has been brought before the tribunal,
Yes,
the VBT.
The VBT.
Yes, the Victorian Broadcasting Tribunal.
On the back of?
On the back of some actions through the course of the week that he, A, didn't run past me as his colleague.
No, and mentor.
And he's been charged with acting outside of his jurisdiction and or capabilities.
Well, how do you answer these charges?
Well, I think all will be revealed, JB, but I think Gary could be on the right path, actually.
So what's happened is that I was heading towards suspension for him on the Chew and Wolf show.
Yeah, you were. You had him out.
But he's been given a stay of execution until the hearing tomorrow,
Right.
which will include Danny Frawley.
Well, see, I'm interested in who you're bringing into the hearing.
Which will include Danny Frawley and Damien Purple-Headed Barrett.
Yep.
And you'll be the independent arbiter.
Well, why? Now, Spud interests me, because you know Spud tends to be shocking at a hearing.
Yes.
He's black and white, Gary.
I know that, but this is where we're at with Chua.
What?
He needs intervention. So he gets a reprieve tonight.
Reprieve tonight.
And therefore, the millions of Chew and Wolf Show fans will get some servings.
All right, well, I'm going to let you
So
go.
off you go.
Get
Go
stuck
and get
into
me
it.
a coffee, please. Now, Chua, a couple of things. Normally this time, Hawthorn's average score for this season's been 115 points. Their strength has been their ability to hit the scoreboard. And what I think is most important for them is their goal scoring efficiency. I reckon they go at about 1 in 3. I don't know what their goal scoring efficiency is tonight when they go inside 50. I think it'll be down.
Spot on, Gary, for hard yakka. Hawthorn usually go in at 30% goal scoring efficiency. Tonight, at 15%.
Right, so therefore, what I'm looking at is their forward setup. And to me, they lack the flexibility when they have Buddy Franklin playing. They can go long to the square, where Ruff generally positions himself closer to goal when Buddy's around, because Buddy works higher. They can work laterally. Just to me, to the naked eye, they haven't had the close shots from goal that they get when Franklin's out there, when Ruff stays closer at home. I would say 2 at the most.
You're unbelievable, Gary. Hawthorn, only 2 scoring shots inside 30 metres.
Oh, hang on. So 30 metres or closer, they've only had 2 scoring
Only
shots
2.
tonight.
Yep.
Staggering. Well, I would think they'd average. If they've only had 2 tonight, I'm trying to think. I think they average about 10 or 11 a game.
Amazing, Gary. They've 10 scoring shots inside 30 is what they usually average. In fact, tonight, 7 out of their 9 scoring shots.
Yeah, before you go on, I would have said most scoring shots outside 40 metres.
Gary, you've hit the nail on the head. 7 out of the 9 scoring shots have been beyond 40 metres for Hard Yakka.
And the thing that Sydney has kept Sydney in the game and has them poised, I reckon, right now, has been their hardness around the ball. Their clearances, they'd have to be well up in clearances.
Spot on again, Gary. Swans up by 8 in the clearances.
And I'm taking a wild guess at contested possession. I'm tipping around 18, 19.
It's funny you say that. They're up by 20 for Hard Yakka.
Damn. All right, and last one, before we get back into it, I love Brad Sewell as a footy player. Last week, I watched him in Sydney, and to me, it looked to me as if he had the message, that he was getting inside footy and not trying to run with it. He was just feeding out handballs. I reckon last week, he went about 1 handball, 1 kick to 2 handballs.
Unbelievable again, Gary. 9 kicks to 18 handballs last week against the Swans.
And tonight, I'm getting a feeling he's going about 1-1.
He is, Gary. 9 kicks to 10 handballs. And 33% by foot, Gary. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. So there it is, another edition of Chew and Wolf Show. Be listening to the Rush Hour to find out maybe I might donate a Chew and Wolf T-shirt to the Rush Hour to give away at some stage.
This is all false, this. Chew, this is unbelievable. Ranked number 1 for goal scoring efficiency, 30%. Tonight, I reckon it's 15.
We just
is
did
that right? I know, but you just read a straight off the sheet that Chewer gives you.
I do not. We have a meeting through the week, idiot, at Point Cook.
2 meetings.
2 meetings this week because it's a final.
It's all we
write down. I say to him, look, I think goal scoring efficiency is going to be an issue this week. He writes it down, and then I say, righto, I think this has happened, and he backs it up.
You cannot lie to the audience out there, Gary. This is unbelievable.
It's Bill Brownless, by the way, a familiar voice on Triple M, the Rush Hour. This is like a man playing for Kingupna, running in at half time and walking into the Hawthorn side. What are you doing in our box?
I've come into the wrong box. I'm next door.
Take that, listen.
I'm going to take that
and use them in the second half.
Switch it over to Croc Media and have a listen to some good stats.
Bill Brownless, who generally comes in and gets our notes and takes them back to the seconds and gives them a run around in the country area. Half-time here, big final. Sydney right in this, up to their necks, 4-7-31 apiece. The Hawks at various stages have looked dangerous enough. I wonder as this game rolls on whether the fatigue factor kicks in, and then it is about how you use the ball going forward. Sydney have got the long out. They've got the get-out option of just going long to the goal square to Tippett, to Pike, to Mumford or to Jesse White. I'm looking down now as these two sides head back out. Gary Rowan's going to the goal square, so he looks like he's going to play one out of the goal square. Luke Hodge, who was just dominant in that first half, stays at half back on Jesse White, so not a lot of change there. And at the other end of the ground, in fact, I doubt very much whether there's a change at all. Isaac Smith has started inside forward 50. That would be the change.
4-7-31 each, as thanks to McDonald's, Triple M rocks the first weekend of the finals. Little clearance here for the Swannies. O'Keefe hoists it high. Going to land on the head of a couple. Jude Bolton, one of them. Jesse White came through. Nice releasing handball for the bearded Malcho, who went out into some available space and then overran the ball. And Hodge was able to reel it in. Got it by hand to Whitecross, who went by hand to Burgoyne. And now they can go long down the line, the Hawks. Not favoured by the kick at all. Hale got a hand to it. Bruce did well. And then a don't argue to Smith. And then inside forward 50. Rough hand. Nice hands.
Great marks. It wasn't a great kick, though.
No, it wasn't a great kick. He had to sit and wait for a little bit. But as you said, first half, a little bit jumpy with his hands. Not great, but that on that occasion, really clean, good contested mark.
And again, this scoring change started from half back with Luke Hodge involved across half back.
So Jared Roughhead has kicked 1 goal, 1 tonight. He's deep in the right forward pocket, but a left footer, remember. City end. Kick is hung out to the left.
Tentative.
Yep, and not getting there. Rush through for a behind 1 point. The lead for the Hawks, 4-8-4-7, Harvey Norman scoreboard.
Just didn't kick through it then, Ruffy, did he? Stabbed at it, really had to go back. If he'd kicked through that, it would have gone left to right, straight through the high diddle-diddle.
Brad McVeigh, he's had a change of boots, McVeigh. Got the real bright laces in this pair. He's kicking him in from full back. He's going to come back, though, because Birchall to Gunston, back to Birchall, steps around Mummy, then hands it over to Gibson, who concedes some ground to Hodge. We've still got the match up on Jesse White. Gaz, is that something the Hawks would enjoy?
I think so. I think they don't mind that one little bit because he's been just a dictator.
He gets a little short ball working to Bradley Hill. 80 out from goal. Take his time here, Hill. The Swans numbers back. He shakes one really across the centre square, but Whitecross had enough time to get in there. There's a bit of a gap inside forward 50 if they can lead into it, and that came with the former Brian Lake.
Hello.
What's Lakey doing down there? He's worked Tippett all the way to the goal square, and he can do this, Duck and Gaz. He's capable of going forward and having an impact.
Well, it was a really clever lead because he was deep in the forward line and he led at the right time. He realised he had Tippett off the bit as I look at the Chemist Warehouse replay screen, and Tippett had no idea. He was watching Lake rather than the kicker, and he just ran straight past him.
Smart play from Lake. Tippett won't enjoy it, trying to defend deep in his own goal square as Lake launches a big footy and he's kicked it home. And listen to the Hawthorn fans, and they get around him. They love it. Brian Lake steps up here in the qualifying final. He kicks the first goal of the second half. The Hawks now by 7 points. Triple M Harvey Norman scoreboard, 2.5 into the third term, Gaz.
So, I don't know whether they've taken a leaf out of the book of Harry Taylor and Tommy Lonigan, but it is a great play by Lake. It was a slow play, so he said to Kurt Tippett, righto son, come with me and see if you can defend. Clearly Kurt Tippett can't defend. He had no idea. So he's gone and hit the scoreboard. I said that he'd fatigue really badly Brian Lake by half-time. Well, maybe half-time's come at the exact right time for him.
So the Hawks back in front by 7 points. Listening everywhere around Australia and around the world on Triple M, even the iPhone apps. You're getting great people listening to Triple M footy and absolutely loving it. High ball inside forward 50. Irish, Belgian, all sorts of work. And the Hawks surge forward again. Sewell picks it up just outside 50, threads it to Burgoyne. Burgoyne, a low ball. Doesn't hit the target. Smith, unable to take the mark. Ruff went back to access the footy and took it out. About 25 around from the City in goal.
And this is a pivotal time here. I know it's only 7 points from the Swannies, but in a low-scoring contest, they've got to hold here.
Mumford to the front. Parker's kick fortuitously lands.
Good result.
With Mitchell.
He's got it at half-back. Got himself in a nice spot, Tom Mitchell. He's had an outstanding first year. Son of Swans great Barry Mitchell. Kicks to centre winger Gibson's worked his way into that one and taken a nice mark over the top of Tippett and Lake.
Beautiful work by Lake. Just nudged him under the footy, Tippett, and protected Gibson.
And go back to Stratton. Come across the ground to Whitecross. I mean, trying to get this a lot, the Hawks. Shift the full press of the Swans around the ground. They go short again to Hodge.
I just saw Richards working overtime on Spanger. I saw Henry work overtime on Smith, and Jesse White let them off the hook by allowing Hodge to push up on him.
Forced to go with his right foot. And now Hale took a good one-hander on Mumford, centre wing. Good contested grab from Hale. He stuck out the one mitt. Took it cleanly. Isaac Smith's got the overlap run. He's going to take Bolton on. Little sidestep was nice. Runs through 50. Centering. Ball's a wobble. It's going to land in the arms of big Maxie Bailey. Got in front. The kick had a bit of wobble about it, but Max was in the right spot. He should score here from 25 directly in front, Duck.
Well, Gaz, you've said it a number of times, but got let off the hook, got to Hodge. Now, even though White put him under a little bit of pressure, was he onto his right foot to Hale's advantage. Very good contested mark by Hale, so all credit. But that is just terrific play. Once again, Hodge setting it up from half-back.
They're making their move here, boys, and the Sydney Swans have got to really dig their heels in.
One of the great football stories, this man, Max Bailey. 3 knee reconstructions. Looked like his career was over. And now he slots one home on the big stage. And they love it. His Hawthorn teammates get around him from everywhere. They kick 2 in a row to start the third quarter. The Hawks margin now out to 13 points. Triple M, Harvey Norman scoreboard, 6-minute mark, third quarter.
And look, it's a low-scoring arm wrestle, and I tell you, the Isaac Smith's work then, Duck.
Yep.
That ball was at half-back, and they went from one side to the other. He had Daniel Henry with him, and in the end, he burned Henry off after, I would say, conservatively, a 500-metre round trip. And it was just top-paced 500-metre running. It has to be seen to be believed how hard he works.
They just can't get their hands on it at the minute, Sydney. Hawthorn 25 hard yakkers to Sydney 6.
In the middle, Hale. O'Keefe got a little piece of it. Parker then ducked back and kicked to Torpy off a step. Hodge again.
Right out there, Jim. Do
Just
something.
A man built for this time of year.
Yeah, do something, Sydney, about this.
Short to Hill, centre of the ground. These are big moments in this game. Hill sticks it inside 50 to a 1-on-2. Fist away to Sewell at ground level. He was beset upon by Hawks. Swans, I should say, Puopolo. was then taken in a tackle, and the umpire's going to throw it up 48 from home.
Well, the one thing you know about Sydney, Gaz, is that they will keep coming. Yep. Hawthorn are in a little bit of a purple patch now, but it's up to Sydney. Just keep applying pressure.
Picked off by Pike out of there, gave it to Malcheski. He distributes to that man we've been discussing, White. Nice hands.
Nowhere to go, though.
So he's just got to hold up. Still nowhere to go, so he goes with a handball out wide. It presents an overlap. Bird, the handball to him wasn't great, but he manages to strip a tackle. Back to White. White had to think his way through it and really didn't. Just kicked a high one forward. They can ruffle it back there. And Liam Shields took the mark.
It was a good effort in the end from Shields. It's a high floating footy, back with a flight. And they're breaking them open at the moment. Dangerous kick from Birchall. Richards stood strong there over Bruce. Took the mark. It was going to break open into open play there, boys.
Yeah, time for Kirk Tippett to step up. That's a horrible kick from Teddy Richards. Turnover in the middle of the ground.
Yeah, here come the Hawks again, Gaz. We'll get back to your Kurt Tippett moment in a second as Burgoyne to Hill. He can run, takes a bounce. Henry gives chase. He takes him on Hill. Kick around the body. Has been marked by Grundy. In front of Spanger on his own goal line. You're about to say Kurt Tippett, Gaz?
I think he's got to play deeper now. I think he's got to take Brian Lake deep, and he's a good presenter to the footy. Right now, 4 goals on the board for Sydney. As the ball goes out of bounds from a small from Brad Sewell, about 60 metres around for the Hawthorn goal. Right now, with 4 goals, is not a good enough result. So they've got to change that up a little bit. Maybe go long to the square more with Tippett one out, or hit him up on the lead.
Throwing outside forward 50 for the Hawks, who have done all the attacking in this third term. Jack delivered the ball very hurriedly in the Hanbury direction. And he was closed down by Puopolo, and it will be thrown up 55 from home. Time forward half in this quarter, Two-Man.
Yeah, all Hawthorn's way, JB. 77% to 22.
77. Kicked out of there by the Swans defence. Bounces in front of Mumford again. He's got a couple to beat. Whitecross got his arms free. Handball to Gibson. Gibson tried to keep it in. Maybe should have taken it out. Free kick. Mitchell.
They can't get it past half forward. They're allowing Hawthorn to outnumber them at their half forward line, and they are under pressure and they can't get it through.
Mitchell plays on and then goes by hand to Birchall. Then tries to run him down. The short one to Spanger is okay. Back to Birchall. Well done on the mark. Grundy read it. And then a bit unlucky, infringed around the shoulder with Birchall, but probably not a bad result. He stopped him.
He's on his own, Spang. No.
He had an option there, Duck. He didn't want to take Spanger. Now they come back into the corridor and they switch the play nicely to Whitecross, to Hodge. Conceded some ground, but Hodge goes to the right foot, and that's a ripping pass to Hale, who had Rowan as a matchup, presented nicely, and Hale can score. He's got to kick it about 45 directly in front.
Well, you talk about leadership, and Luke Hodge just typifies it, doesn't he? He knows the feel of a game. He knows when to slow it down. He knows when to play on quickly. And it's exactly what he did again. And uncontested marks in this quarter. 15 to Hawthorn, Sydney 2. And that was another uncontested mark inside forward 50.
It's like a big moment in this game. All of a sudden, low-scoring affair. This for 3 in a row. David Hale, he's a competent shot at goal as a rule. And looks okay. And he drives it home. Hawks get 3 in a row. And this is the biggest margin in the game, 19 points in favour of Hawthorn. 7-8-50, 4-7-31 Sydney. Triple M Harvey Norman scoreboard, 10-minute mark, third quarter.
7 to zip inside 50s this quarter. Luke Hodge has had 5 possessions. The leading possession winner on the ground. He's going at 100% by foot. I say it again, do something about it. We're 2.5 quarters in. Jesse White ain't the answer. He hasn't got the footy smarts. They're under pressure, so the ball, finally, Jesse White's going to go to the goal square. So at least Luke Hodge has got to think of he's going to play on someone else. Right now, he's second-guessing Jesse White. He's thinking before Jesse White's thinking.
Right now, he's loose, Gary.
That's
you
worse.
Don't want that either.
That's worse, Duck.
It's all going the Hawthorn Footy Club's way. 31-50 now. After it was all square.
Throw.
At half-time, the throw is going Jack's way.
You can't go straight down the guts because Luke Hodge's sitting in the hole on his own.
Well, that's where you've got to weigh up. Is you're loose better than they're loose? And it's not.
Oh, no.
They're battling to get outside him too, Gaz, I reckon.
They are. Because they can't take the risk to play on you.
Yeah. Gunston goes to Hale. Fitty! No,
he was going to Fitty.
He was. So Hale's outside Fitty and goes short to the man with artificial hair, Guerra.
An artificial hair with a devastating left boot.
Yes, he might go. He goes with a low puncher. into a big position on the ground. And a huge mark taken.
Shields.
By Liam Shields.
Wow.
What about that? This man wasn't even playing this morning.
See, this is the point. It doesn't matter who your leading target is, but as the game wears on, you must present to the footy. Because defenders get tired and they drop off, although on that occasion Rampy just missed the spoil.
Missed the ball. Well, this, if it goes through, makes it a 25-point lead. And that is a huge lead in the context of this game, especially when you consider Swans have only kicked 4 goals. We're halfway through the third term. Shields to the city end, set shot, goal. 5 in a row, Hawks. 4 straight in this term. Triple M Harvey Norman scoreboard.
Right, over to your old teammate, Duck. I'm sorry. He's been slow to react for me all night, so it's over to you in the coaching box. You've got to do something about this.
Oh, exactly right. You've got to man up Hodge for starters. You've got to try. Now, he won't go deep, Gary. He's too smart for that. But you've just got to put someone in your forward line and you've got to say, okay, whether it's a defensive game on Hodge or not, but say, stand with him, and when we've got the ball, run to dangerous positions. Exactly. At least make him accountable. Exactly. Right now, he's not accountable for anyone, and he is the catalyst in this third quarter.
Let's get down to Howie at ground level, thanks to Karcher.
Those on the Sydney bench are starting to talk to the sub, Louis Jetta, Jed Anderson, the sub for the Hawks.
Karcher, high pressure cleaners bringing you Howie. It's 4 goals in a row. And Gaz, the Duck, they're up there saying, make a move. What is it, Duck?
They have. They've
Luke Parker.
Yeah, Luke Parker's gone down there now.
And that's where the footy goes, deep inside 50. Hodge got involved. Lake picked it up cleanly. It's a handball, though it was only as far as Kieran Jack, the Swan skipper, at centre forward. They pile in, wrap this one up. The umpire was let it go, and Lake came up with the footy. Gained about 6 metres with the kick. In there, Parker works his way back round, and then found the handball out to Kieran Jack. And it's going to be a free kick going the Swans' way, coming back to Luke Parker.
Well, he's had an impact already.
Now Guerra sitting in the hole, so worry.
Long driving footy, Pike down there. Gibson went third man up, powerful fist. Lake picked it up. Sewell's got to, under pressure, get a handball back to Gibson. A lot of numbers back, and it is the man that Duck spoke about. Luke Hodge playing an enormous game, and he finds Gunston. It's a good contested mark at halfback.
Defenders just dropping off slightly, just dropping off as the game wears on. So Gunston, who's not a big pack mark, starts to come into it. Bruce will continue to come into this game. Shields, they got Burgoyne going forward. I like that. He's a draw. He's a come to the footy player.
Sagging back, White Cross takes it very deep in his defensive area. Short to Gibson. They suddenly don't look dangerous at all, the Swans.
No, they don't, Jim.
No.
And look, I'm telling you, risk-taking isn't happening for Sydney because they're too scared to play on.
Oh. This might be the only way they'll get a look at it. The turnover. Andreas Everett tried to drill a ball in tight. Guerra walked through about 2 tackles. Now Kennedy applies a very good tackle. Still the numbers into the defensive area with the Hawks. They might be able to muscle it out of here through Kennedy. Did brilliantly to Jude Bolton. Bolton to McGlynn. McGlynn kicked it across the face. Hit the wrong side of the ball. And it goes out to be thrown in.
Have a look at Sydney's opposite number to Luke Hodge, playing a kick behind the play, behind the footy, is Kurt Tippett.
That just doesn't work, does it? Nope. All square at half-time it was. The Hawks have kicked 4 goals to lead by 25 points. Kieran Jack tries to muscle his way through. He's ripped the ground by Lewis. Here's the man who's just dominating Hodge. Picks it up. And this time he's wrapped up, let the ball up, 35 out from the Sydney goal.
Well, Gaz, he looks lost already. He's going over. Lost. He's standing next to Ruffin. Yeah. So theoretically he's doing nothing because it's a 1-on-2. Yeah. That's exactly what Hawthorn would want.
We're at the punt road end. The Swans in attack, and they absolutely desperately need a goal. Can they get one? Henry got a little bit of space. Clean hands over the top. Where they'll mop it up. 10 metres out. Sewell back to Hodge. Yeah, slight little fumble. Good enough to go back and get it. Underground ball to Stratton. Dribbles across the boundary line, right forward pocket, 20 around from the Swans' goal. It's Hawthorn by 25 points, and we've got 8 minutes remaining in the third term.
They got it at the right end of the ground after 5 in a row to the Hawks. They've got to convert somehow. Jack attempted to get it to Kennedy. Lewis got involved for the Hawks. Jack got a kick back into the hot spot. Jude Bolton went walking through, and he took the footy with him for a behind. 4-8-32, 8-8-56. Triple M Harvey Norman scoreboard.
Sydney haven't played on for the quarter, boys, so they haven't taken the game on once. Haven't taken the risks, rolled the dice, get the ball moving once.
Similar in ways to last week, Gaz. They had real heat early, Sydney, and then just couldn't maintain the rage.
Well, they got the 19 points up last week, and they got the 9 points up today.
Smith just walked out of play with the ball.
Just hardjack the stats. Time in possession this quarter. Hawthorn 78%, Sydney at only 22.
Gone into the ruck, Tippett now.
Thrown in ball. And he'll get involved in this one. Bailey too. Tippett's second effort okay. Birchall. Great handball after he got the hands free. Just a little one-on-ones being won. Jetta's on the sub and put a tackle on straight away. Look at Jetta's boots, by the way. They're doing plenty. Let's get down to Howie.
Jetta is on the ground, as you said. It looks like Mumford has been given the red vest for the Swans.
Yeah, so the big man for the small man, and I think that's an appropriate move with 25 points to margin and 17 gone third term. We're on centre wing, member side. Tom Mitchell gave a little handle out to Parker to Hanbury. This is a nice build up to Bird. It'll go inside 50. Jetta's just on the ground. He's at full forward in the goal square. But the big mark taken by Mike Pike.
Big Mike.
He monstered Lakey in the end. He is an enormous unit, this man. He's 104 kilos, 201 centimetres, and he's great at this part of the game. He's handed it over to Jetta. Jetta runs into an open goal, and the sub has got it. That is what the Swans needed. Lewis Jetta kicks one within about 30 seconds of being on the ground, and the Swans get their first for the second half. And it's 8-8-56 Hawthorn, 5-8-38. That is Sydney on the Triple M Harvey Norman scoreboard.
And that's really, really important from Matt. And it was a great contested mark by Big Pike. As I've said all day, he's just been very good at that all year. But then to give it to Jetta. Now, Jetta hasn't played much footy, so to give him an easy goal and get his confidence up for this last quarter and a bit is a massive... you can go back and kick that goal yourself. You don't know what that does for Jetta in the rest of this game.
Yeah, and Duke, in normal circumstances, 8 goals to 5. I mean, take away the dominance of Hawthorn this quarter, the Swans have hung in to be 8 goals to 5.
That's a strong throwing around of Brian Lake. Clearance out of the middle here for the Hawks. It gets bashed into a real dangerous spot. Burgoyne taken to Shields. The quick answer. No, the kick was ordinary. He had more time than he knew. Just to behind Howie, down to you thanks to Kasha.
The Hawks have answered the Swans in every way, shape, form. Max Bailey subbed out. Jed Anderson, a man with some real spark about him, comes on.
Yeah, the young man, Jed Anderson, only his 6th game of AFL footy. A big moment for him as he comes in to the contest. Swans clear at the half-back. Pike did well, got in front of Lake, got a fist on it. Lewis picked it up but rushed over the boundary line, and that's where we'll have a boundary throw in. It's 19-point Hawks lead, 6 minutes 18 seconds remaining in the third quarter, and we're at half forward here for the Hawks. Tip it in the ruck, Hale in front, Sewell at ground level, squeezes the handball back to Piopolo, set upon by Jetta immediately. Will this one come out? Umpires giving it plenty of time, and Kennedy with his strength gets it to O'Keefe. Finds a bit of space here, back to Grundy. Get long down the line. Pike again in front. At the back, Mitchell cleverly got it and then hacked one forward.
Cool.
And it favoured Jesse White, who took a rare mark.
Well, another one here would be interesting with the Swannies.
It's just a bit too slow here, Jesse. He's taking his time.
He's only got Jude Bolton in the square. That's his worry.
Yeah, that might explain it, but he's got some athleticism and good enough to get around Hodge on the mark. Now kicks to the goal square. O'Keefe set himself, couldn't quite complete it. Hanbury down there, going through hard. Lewis, he's great at doing exactly that. Put his body on the line. It spills out to Kennedy. Kick smothered by Guerra. There might have been White Cross in there as well. So too Birchall trying to just reef it out. The umpire still says play on. So Saul comes back in for a third effort. His handball finds the boundary line looking for Hodge. And that's what we'll have. 60 out from the Swans goal. 57-38. The Hawks by 19 points, Gaz.
This is the concern. Hawthorn only took 42 uncontested marks in the grand final last year. They've taken 26 uncontested marks this quarter.
To the front. And Sewell, I think it is wrapped up. And again, the umpire comes in.
You see O'Keefe get forward, nearly mark that footy. Yeah. That's what he's got to do on Sam Mitchell now. Because Sam Mitchell just trailed him in because he can't run quick like that. So O'Keefe's now got to take some initiative and get forward.
Tip it in the ruck, worked it down. Kennedy just couldn't access the ball. Piopolo could, kicked it forward. Richards and Grundy there for the Swans. And Burgoyne there for the Hawks. Won the ball. Mitchell, left foot to a dangerous spot. Good fist away. Lewis, like a battering ram, came through. Hanbury really focused on it. This is all on the logo. Lewis went and got it again via Roughhead. Then Burgoyne. High inside 50, 1-on-2. Isaac Smith at the back. If he can be clean, he's only got the bearded Malcho to worry about. Now Cho, beautifully done. One-on-one, got it to Bird, then to McGlynn, and McGlynn sits it over the top to Kieran Jack. Not a great ball. Kieran Jack's got to go back and get it. He did pretty well. Handball on the up to Mitchell. Stratton sees it over. 55 from home.
They're hanging in the Sydney Swans. It's only 3 goals behind. Spoke about Sewell going 1 kick, 1 handball up the half time. What's he had this quarter, Chua, please?
No kicks, 5 handballs for Hard Yakka.
Much better.
O'Keefe picked this one up from the boundary throw-in. Coming in, Kieran Jack. And now Mitchell, he was upended. Spills out now to Sewell. He's going to get this one inside 50 with a hurried kick, and a mark will be taken down there by Ted Richards. Releases Grundy out in front. Good awkward footy to pick up, and Spanger can come in now and put some heat on, and he does. Well played to Spang. And Grundy just a bit pedestrian there on that occasion as Roughhead takes it over, boundary throwing. Left forward pocket, 35 round from the Hawks goal, 57-38. Margin of 19 points in favour of the Hawks. 3:48 remaining in the third quarter.
Was he attempting there, no Andy Grundy?
I'm not
Just
sure.
a real sort of poxy one as Mitchell, left foot spinner to the top of the square. Look at Burgoyne, enormously gifted, wrapped up in a tackle. Malcheski just smashed it into the arms of Sewell, who'll get a free.
He's been big, Brad Sewell. He hasn't kicked it well, but he's been enormous. Right where you've needed him to be in a final. In front, under Pats.
Too far out to score, 3:22 left. He retreats to Guerra, close to the centre of the ground. He'll go to Lake, other side of the centre circles. And Lake holds it up and waits for someone to come at him, then goes back to Guerra, same spot. Chewing a bit of time up here, the Hawks with some good ball use to Lewis. And Lewis is just ahead of the centre circles. To the city end, he goes with a torpy. A real end-on-end mung. It bounces off about 4 sets of hands. Anderson came in and gave away a free. And the Swannies will take it away through Parker. Down to you, Howie, thanks to Kasha.
Josh Gibson, left quad, got a real nasty cork on it. He's got some heavy strapping on there. Every player coming off at the moment, JB, absolutely knackered.
Yeah, nice work, Howie, in the dock down there. The Hawks by 19 points. It was a beautiful ball. Now Chesky found O'Keefe. And he's got it centre wing.
Better running from O'Keefe. What's he had, Chew? He's had 15. He's got to start getting more of the footy.
Yeah, 15 disposals, and he's averaging 27 this year.
Kick down the line. Lewis had a fair piece of it. Didn't quite complete the mark. Now Gary Ryan wraps him up, dumps him to the ground. Umpires are giving the players a heap of time to get it out. In comes Hodge, Hanbury.
Clever.
And he just forced a little kick back, Gaz. It was enough to find Lake. Awkward bouncing footy. Bruce tackled strongly from behind. Might have been incorrectly. Rampy has given away the free kick to Liam Shields. He's in the centre of the MCG. Comes out wide to Gibson, back on with his quad wrapped up. Now in the drop, pointing out it to Corky, and Gibbo's left foot there missed the target, 15 metres. Isaac Smith can't believe it. We'll have a boundary throwing 2 men.
Just the uncontested marks this quarter have blown out to 31-4 Hawthorn's way.
It's 31-4.
Gee whiz.
Hey, Duck, they've gone in with the 4 tools. They've taken 6 marks, Sydney only inside 4.
No, it hasn't worked, has it?
Bird, little handball through. Kennedy's kept persisting to Parker, who got taken out of it by Bruce. Now there's a scramble about 55 from home with about 8 players hovering around the ball. As the Duke said very accurately, they have allowed an enormous amount of time for players to release the footy. And 48 out from home, it'll be thrown in.
Well, that was always going to be the concern, Gary, if they couldn't mark it, the run-off half-back of Hawthorn.
57-38 in favour of the Hawks. Huge if they can get one here. Pure below! It came to him out of a stoppage. Beautiful finish. Worrying signs now for the Swans. 5-8-38, 9-9-63. Triple M Harvey Norman scoreboard. Kasha high pressure cleaners, Howie.
You talk about Luke Hodge's game on the ground being unbelievable. He's been unbelievable on the bench. As soon as the goal went through, he turned around to Damien Monkhurst, who's got the phone up to the coaches, just saying, shut it down, get the message up to them, to get the message back down to the boys to shut it down for the quarter.
Well, that is a testament to just work rate. There's no way you could describe this game as being a pretty spectacle, as something that's been aesthetically pleasing, but it has just been hard work, blue-collar work, and right now the Hawks have out-blue-collared the most blue-collar team of all, and that is a compliment.
5-1 in this third quarter. The Hawks lead it by 25 points. It was all tied up at half-time. Swans need one here as Kieran Jack gets it back to McVeigh. They're under a heap of pressure, and what Gaz has just pointed out, it has been the Hawks doing a Swans job on the Swans. Is awkward bouncing footy. Lake's really started to come into his own in this third quarter. Kicks it out wide to Whitecross, who stood under it nicely in front of Hanbury. Took a good mark at half-back.
Cramp for Whitecross, maybe strategic cramp. But if he gets up quickly, he'll find Brian Lake on his own. Oh, no. What are you doing, son?
Hodgie just pointed to him to go down the line, and Whitecross missed the memo. They've got some overlap run to Guerra. Clock ticks down to 37 seconds. Guerra still 25 out from his own goal.
Well, Brian Lake's still on his own. If Whitecross can drag a man away, he can't. He's coming off with cramps.
So Guerra decides that the long, high ball down the line's the way to go. Everett fists it across for a boundary throw in on the southern stand wing side, yes.
McVeigh one position, Bolton one position this quarter. Unbelievably, 9 times the Hawks have taken the game on. Sydney yet to play on for the quarter.
22 seconds left. And the Swans are starting to really battle in this first qualifying final. Shields kicked it off his shin. Bird went back by hand to Everett. He's just got to kick it high and long and hope. Gibson back, O'Keefe with him. In fact, it was Mitchell. And the ball goes over. 6 seconds left. 63-38. A 5-goal to 1/3 term. And that may well prove to be enough unless the Swans can find some sort of spark in this final term. Siren. Excellent quarter of footy for the Hawks. 9-9-63. Loud applause, of course, to 5-8-38. Harvey Norman scoreboard, Australia's #1 choice for appliances, big or small. We're going to hear from Gaz and the Duck next, as well as Duke, Chua, Howie and the Doc. Rowan White down on the boundary. 9-9-5-8 for McDonald's. This is Triple M rocking finals football.
This quarter.
Three-quarter time here at the MCG, the first qualifying final. 5 goals to 1 in that third term. Sees the Hawks lead it by 25 points here at three-quarter time. It was all square at half-time, and the Hawks turned in a magnificent performance. The King is here, Wayne Carey, and Gaz, the Lone Wolf.
Yeah, well, Hawthorn just dominated that quarter in every aspect. And if you look at Sydney, in that third quarter, they had 39 less disposals, and their kicking efficiency was 45%. So, one, they weren't getting it. When they got it, they were just under that much pressure, they turned it over. Hawthorn was, that was obviously easily their best quarter, but they just dominated in everything, Gaz.
Dominated off half-back, which has been the pattern all night, and Luke Hodges, the man. People will be sick of us talking about him, but we have to, because he's been the absolute pivotal player in the whole night.
Well, we did think, and let's be honest, if you go back to the selection table and the fact that Hawthorn went tall, Sydney went tall, we thought that could be an advantage if played the right way.
If they marked
well,
it.
it just hasn't worked out, has it? Because when the ball's hit the deck, it's been the Hodges, the Guerras, the Mitchells, all of these guys have just slaughtered them off half-back.
The flow-on effect, Duck, and James mentioned it through the call. When you keep getting repelled from half-back, you don't take the game on then, because you go, well, I'm not going to kick it down there. I don't want to play on, because when I get down there, it's going to go back. So they go into their shell. Not one single play on for the game. So I hope John Longmire said, right, someone go to Hodge. I don't care who it was. Luke Parker, I think, in the end, he didn't look like he knew what he was doing either. Someone go there. Ryan O'Keefe even go and play on him. And then, hey, take the game on. We've got to play on and take the game on.
Well, they're getting beat at their own game, so now they've just got to take risks. They have to play on.
Exactly right.
Howie, thanks to Kasha. Every single player in the Hawthorn huddle gathered around Alistair Clarkson for one last go, while the Sydney Swans boys, a lot of them getting a lot of rub work. A really tough physical game, taking it out of the boys.
Dan Hanbury might be the man for Hodge here at the moment.
Right, we're bouncing the ball to start this final term. Lewis picked it up, gave it to Mitchell. Mitchell off a step, massaged it to Ruff. 45 out directly in front.
See what Jordan Lewis did then? They don't panic kick. They refuse just to bang it on the boot. And so he just went back to Mitchell on the Chemist Warehouse replay screen. He went back because he knew Mitchell had a little bit more time and is a great distributor. He went onto his left, kicked it inside out, and this is going to make it nigh on impossible.
He kicked from outside 50. The left foot hit. I think he's pulled it, chasing distance. He has only just hit the post halfway up, and Ruff slaps his hands together. That's a big miss in the context of what would then have made it enormously tough for the Swans. 5-8-38, 9-10-64, Foxtel scoreboard.
So it's 26 points the margin, and all the work to do for the Swans. Malcheski fullback kick in. He's going to come to the members' side. Pike there, falconed himself in the end, and Hale picked it up. Little chipping ball's going to be okay. And this is Jed Anderson. The sub came on late in the third quarter, and only 6 games of AFL footy. The 19-year-old from Darwin. This is a big moment.
Great moment, isn't it? Playing in his first final?
Yep.
Yes. Playing in his first final. Saw Hill kick a goal, kick the first goal of the game. So you get confidence from that. They've got to take their chance. They've got to put Sydney away. They've got to nail the coffin shut.
So what can Jed Anderson do? 45-degree angle, 45-metre kick. Ooh, left foot shank in the end.
Was.
And not lucky to register a score at all. They've 2 behinds here in the final quarter. 9-11-65 Hawthorn, 5-8-38 Sydney on the Triple M Foxtel scoreboard.
That bloke who hovers by our effects mic, and when a bad kick happens just goes he seems to follow us everywhere, Gary.
He gets the same seat every single week.
McVeigh goes into the middle. Here's where we need the dash from Sydney. Jetta, just take the game on.
Go, son.
Get Gary Rowan up and get him to do the same thing. Jetta. No, he kicks it in search of Hanbury. Did brilliantly well. He takes the game on, gets and goes, and the slicing ball hits Mitchell, 35 out.
Well, it's amazing what happens when you get the ball and you play on.
Exactly.
Because it creates movement up forward, because the forwards, and they were stagnant before that. They were stagnant. They didn't know where to lead. Even Rowan down there didn't know where to go. All of a sudden, someone plays on, space opens up, and you get an uncontested mark inside 50.
Might have said Mitchell, it's O'Keefe who slid in and took the mark. So directly in front, must goal, has goal. Good result for the Swans, 6-8-44 to a 9-11-65. We're back to 21 points on the Foxtel scoreboard.
Well, when you have a look on the Chemist Warehouse replay screen, not only did he play on Daniel Hanbury, he played on whilst Isaac Smith had a hold of him.
Yeah.
So that is a fantastic message, and I know we sound like we're smart, Alex, but it created a goal from nothing.
Yep.
First play on for the half, didn't play on at all, takes the game on, gets a goal.
Great understanding of how to play the game from Dan Hanbury. Summed it up, and it's graded a goal. We're back to 21 points, and that in a low-scoring game means that this game is absolutely alive. We're only early stages of the final quarter. Pike and Hale, neither ruckman really got off the ground. Kennedy in there with his massive frame. Pike goes back in again, and now it comes forward through Kieran Jack. Bouncing footy to Tippett. He's had a quiet night. His handball's been taken away from him by Birchall. To Hodge, who's had the opposite of a quiet night. He's been in everything. Kicks it to centre wing. Berglund leads in the race. Farms the handball back to Saul. Little left foot is going to be okay for Isaac Smith. Well done, Jack. Got in and up the pressure a bit. Got it across boundary, thrown centre wing. Players interchange race here on the members' side.
They've got to build on it. They've got to feed off this enthusiasm from each other, and we know they will because they never ever give up, but they've got to get some momentum into their game.
Boundary throw in right in front of the interchange gates. Lewis went and found it. Jetta got a hold of him. Isaac Smith coughed it up. Parker got a handball back. Bird somehow got it down the line. The big man Tippett came at it. Well done by Shields to break that ball up. Lake got a handball to Sewell. Sewell just off a step, had to dump it long. Spang!
Oh, look at him.
Look at him, hit at the ball, big Spang. He's on the wing. Got it to Lewis, and Lewis went down the line and found Gunston.
Leading up forwards, all leading up, hitting at the footy.
Gunston can go to Ruff. Look at the ball from Gunston. Beautiful delivery.
A little bit of drop off. It just takes a little bit of drop off. And that momentum we talked about, and don't worry, Ruff will be looking to see whether he can peel this one off as well. The momentum Sydney build, here we go.
He does, Gary, and he finds a target with it too, and it's Gunston.
Well, that's disappointing.
Yeah.
Because he's
Three players,
and this is the most accurate kick in the competition nearly, so you'd have to be aware that he'd be a preferred target. So the inside 50 marks are 14-7. The momentum Sydney built has to be built on the fact that Hawthorn don't score Duke and Duck.
Yep. And what I liked about Roughhead then, as soon as that ball was marked by Gunston, the one prior to that, he just wanted the ball. He wanted it more than anyone else.
So to get it straight back, Gunston kicks a goal and loves it.
Oh, a double cobra.
It was, and I'm not sure he's got the guns for a
wouldn't be
cobra.
going with a double cobra.
He's got warrior style upper arms.
He's got gym style.
I was waiting for it. 44-71 on the Triple M Foxtel scoreboard.
Well, you've said it a number of times now, Gary, but uncontested marks inside forward 50. Hawthorn 13, Sydney 3. So they've just been able to find some space and lead up And, two of those right then in that passage of play.
Jack Gunston gets a couple. No Buddy tonight, no Cyril. And it's the Hawks by 27 points. 6.5 minutes into the final term. And now the Swans have really got to get rolling. John Longmire going off his brain on the Chemist Warehouse replay screen. They need one now. Kieran Jack's got the footy. Up and under, chipping ball to half forward. Tippett's underneath it. Big fly from behind Rowan. Got underneath the footy and they've mopped up here. Again the Hawks. Guerra. Long one now. One-on-one Bradley Hill and McVeigh. Look at Hill's leg speed. Just way too quick for McVeigh there. Now to Jed Anderson. Started as a sub, this young man. Kick around the body. Looking for Bruce. Malcheski. Went to ground. Got the fist on it. Sliding in. Gunston couldn't pick it up. Bruce came through the other way to Hale. He'll kick it on the run. Hale. Around the body. Hale. Look at the man, Hale. They love it. Hawks fans go berserk here at the MCG. 2 in a row. Margin 33 points. 77-44 on the Triple M Foxtel scoreboard.
He lost a few more feathers then, Big Haley, because they jumped on his head and ruffled him up. But, look, that was just, once again, get the ball inside 50 quickly, and the Swans defenders all of a sudden under real pressure.
And a bit of Gunston magic, I think, if we can get a Triple M Chemist Warehouse replay screen job from Duke's boys. You might see a little deft backhander. I didn't go back far enough because, I don't know, they just don't see it.
Tape machine operator.
I think so. And Clarko's happy, don't worry about that.
And they're marching into a prelim, the Hawks. It's all going beautifully for them. They'll get a 2-week break and Cyril and Bud will come back in.
Oh, yeah.
Look out. Look out, rest of the comp. Bruce gets a push from the bearded Malcho.
And the thing about it, Jim, it's been hard work. It hasn't been on the back of a Buddy brilliance or Cyril's bit of magic. It's just been hard grunt work.
And Bruce didn't want to go forward, now he does. High ball, fist from behind by Rampy. And Grundy, we don't like to be critical of premiership players ever, Gary, but he's just looked like he's heavy and
unsure.
Not getting across the ground, big Reg Grundy. As the ball thrown inside the Hawks forward 50. Game's been played there pretty much the whole of the second half. Birchall took a good mark. Outside 50. Distributes to Stratton inside the centre square. And Stratton to Hill, still inside the centre square, only just. Just movement everywhere for this young man. If he wants to go with it, he goes back and finds Gibson.
So he's now almost in the centre circle, Josh Gibson. Every Swan player on the ground in front of him. So they take their time here, the Hawks. Gets a nice lead up. That's White Cross, 65 out.
It's good footy this, Duke. They lead by 33. Sydney know they need
this. The kick was beautiful, Gaz. They took their time, as you're about to say. Longmire can't believe it. Ruff presents nicely, but it was patient and then really clever with the kick.
18 Swans players in the vicinity, Duck.
Yeah, it's just movement though, Gaz, and it's what you would teach any forward line. You would just say continually move, creates confusion with the defenders. They don't know where to go. They're zoning off.
The applause was for Mitchell as he came off the ground. Roughhead's kicking boots haven't been great, but no worries there.
Look at it.
Coleman medalist.
Roughhead.
Big Rough, that's his second.
Third, is it?
It's his third, is it, Gaz? My apologies. Triple M Foxtel scoreboard.
Second goal.
Sorry, Duke.
83 plays 44, 9 minutes into the final quarter. And now the margin is almost unassailable, boys.
You want to wander into Friday night, don't go selling the Duke up the path.
Tell you what, King.
No, but it was... they know that they're desperately in need of time now, Sydney, and what they did is said, we'll just take 4 minutes off the clock and eventually hit up another mark on the lead, which is their 11th for the quarter, 11th for the game inside 50. This is Chua, compared to Sydney Swans 4.
In Garridge's Hawthorn's goal scoring efficiency, 41% in the second half opposed to 15 in the first half.
I think we pointed that out in Chua and Wolf's note.
Spot on.
Sewell went to work and got wrapped up and won't release the ball. Umpire says give it away and I'll throw it up.
Horsey Longmire got some work to do. He's got to find a dangerous forward set-up. 6 goals in a final, ain't cutting it.
So they win this ball out of the centre. Kennedy, his numbers to it.
Hardyaker stats 23 at 50% by foot.
Break out of here again, the Hawks. Bruce over the top. Puopolo, Isaac Smith. All Hawthorn now. Isaac Smith massages one. Looking for Burgoyne and finding him.
Another mark on the lead, Jim, going forward.
Outside 50 he is. Beautiful user as a rule.
Guerra slots in the hole here.
Yeah.
Oh, should have gone.
Instead of that, he just sits a high one up, and they've got not much forward.
Jedro!
Jed Anderson!
Big Jedro!
He takes a contested mark. He's 178 centimetres, Gary.
Who was it over, please? Who did he take that mark over? Because mentally now, the Swans are beaten. It was Smith,
Nick Smith.
And with Andres Everett at the back. And I reckon that sort of tells you a bit about the Sydney Swans' bottom six.
Yep. This man, not much bigger than the two units that went out on Mad Monday was St Kilda.
Jim.
Left foot ball, not that much bigger, Gary.
Jim.
Sausage. He's kicked it. And that's it. If it wasn't it already.
The smashing.
89-44 now for the Hawks. They have kicked, let me just count this up, they have kicked 9 of the last 11 goals of this match and are belting Sydney. Triple M Foxtel scoreboard.
Well, we've harped on the lead-up marks, the marks inside 50, but 86 uncontested marks, Gaz, to 28. So that's an area. Now, normally Sydney, they close down. They really put them under pressure. That's just been non-existent tonight,
final, Chua, tell the Duck how many they took uncontested last year in the grand final against Sydney.
Only 42 for the entire game.
Yeah, well, they've doubled that tonight.
It's unbelievable, and that'd be massively disappointing because that speaks of not working hard enough.
Well, it's looking like a smashing at the moment. 45 points. Ruff takes a turn in the ruck and gets his own clearance.
Jedro.
Drives it long. Anderson took a specky last mark, turned him inside out. Kick on its way to the goal square. Bouncing ball across the face. White cross. Jed of the sub. He just hasn't had the real zing in his legs, has he?
What's he look like, Jed of the sub? He looks like a man that hasn't played footy for a long, long time. And you've thrown him into a big final, and he's just watching it all unfold around him.
Chemist Warehouse replay screen. We saw Cyril Rioli, and he's coming back. Bruce, magnificent handball from Lewis. It's a Hawthorn celebration. Luke Bruce makes it 5 in a row, and they are out to a massive lead now. 95-44. Foxtel scoreboard.
Make no mistake, this Hawthorn side, in lots of ways, and it's hard to imagine how, have been a little bit not underestimated, but underappreciated this year in what they've been able to do. And now they've just rubber stamped an unbelievable year, and we've got to sit back now. They go in as premiership favourites. I know there's going to be a lot of footy played over the weekend, but they've got their sights so very firmly fixed on what they need to do to avenge last year.
Incredibly, it was all square at half-time, Duck, 4-7-31 apiece. Since then, 10 of the last 12 goals, all Hawthorn and Ruff now in the ruck. They're winning it at will at the moment. Piopolo goes to half-forward. Jed Anderson, the sub, has been outmarked on this occasion by Craig Bird at half-back.
And don't worry about Buddy Franklin. 11 goal kickers tonight, Gaz.
Yep.
So their reliance, they don't rely on anyone anymore. And I thought last year there was a reliance on Buddy to have a big game. They have no reliance anymore.
Great sign.
Kick is ordinary to Smith, who coughed the footy up. Anderson, I thought, was taken high, might have ducked his head, so a good bit of umpiring. They bring it away through Kennedy. Centre half back here, the Swans. He goes wide. Grundy on the AFL logo. Long ball forward. Tippett's really been quiet. Got his hands to it, unable to take it too early, as in 2 goals early. And after that's done pretty much bugger all. O'Keefe walked into a tackle, and it's going to be thrown up 30 from home.
They looked untidy, Sydney, haven't they? I reckon. They look scrappy. They've made bad decisions. There's been enormous pressure. And as we said, I don't think they've worked hard enough to man Hawthorn up.
Kennedy somehow got it to McVeigh. He was pushed as he kicked out in the full. You just got to... I know there is an enormous amount of footy to be played, Gary, but that Geelong-Hawthorn final...
It looms ominously,
doesn't it just?
Ominously.
Well, we talk about Sydney's run, and they've run both ways, but they've been run off their legs tonight by Hawthorn.
Yep.
Hawks by 51 points in this game too. How long, I'll ask you in a minute, since the Cats have beaten Hawthorn in a game of AFL football? And you're looking at this team at the moment who look unbeatable at the moment, Chew.
Since the Cats have beaten Hawthorn
Yes.
in a game of AFL football.
Get on
wins in a row, Chew.
That's the question, Chew, yep.
Would have thought there was an answer forthcoming,
Speaking
Chew.
English, I thought.
Here comes McVeigh. Swans go inside 50, around the body. Back with a flight with Stratton off hands. McGlynn had an opportunity, but in came Birchall. Stratton follows up his own work. They come from everywhere and wrap him up 15 metres out from the Swans goal, Gaz.
The mail on this is that they never get ahead of themselves, Hawthorn. If ever a side has desperately wanted to meet another in September, it is Geelong. It is Hawthorn want to play Geelong. That is the absolute 100% mail.
Well, it's 4 years, isn't it? It's 2008 grand final, Chua. It hasn't happened since then, I don't think.
Yep.
All right, well,
spit it out then.
Come on, Chua. Don't use the old politician's tactic of repeating the question.
Last
give us the answer.
11, the Cats have won against the Hawks for Hard Yakka Dust.
Since the 2008 grand final, thank you, Chu.
That's it, Chu.
A little delay there.
I think he's been out spending time doing
Elliott.
other stuff when he should be preparing for stuff like this.
I'm with you, Gary.
That's why the hearing before the VBT tomorrow is going to be big.
Yep, real eye off the ball stuff from the Chew man. Long, beautiful ball for Hale. Had a good game, Big Haley. He takes it on the wing out of sight.
They got no passengers, Jim.
No.
I've not seen one Hawthorn player out there that you wouldn't give a tick to.
Yeah, so who comes out? Because they're bringing two in. If they're fit, well, one of them will be fit.
Your man Spang is going to be under pressure, but
and it'll be tough for him.
He's been good, don't worry.
Hill, back to Puopolo, back to Hill. Love the way this man covers the ground. Back to Puopolo. Has a bounce, approaches 50, looks for a squaring target and hits the skipper.
Excellent work. That is good, disciplined footy, but it's also great game awareness from Hodge. This is what happens when you're a man of Hodge's respect from his teammates. Pooh was having a look at him, don't worry. In the end, Hodgie just said, you kick it here, son, otherwise there's going to be trouble. And he did.
That's it. Bit like Rocky or Schwatter coming forward in 1996, Gary. If he wasn't steering it one way, he wouldn't want to do it again. As the skipper here, Big Hodgie, certainly wouldn't be heading it Dr. Scholl's way. Left foot drop punt, and that looks nice. No, missed it. Near side. 14-12-96, 6-8-44 on the Triple M Foxtel scoreboard.
Torpy.
Oh, Andreas Everett, I'm sure that is required. He's only got a little piece of it. Now it's going to come back because Birchall's taken high.
She's unravelling for the Swannies.
Margin's 52 points. Still 8 minutes to play, and this has happened a lot. Short lead, uncontested mark inside 50.
Yeah,
extraordinary.
Just far too much space when you've got all of your players back there.
Well, Luke Bruce, the man, 44th consecutive match for the Hawks tonight. They love his forward pressure, Gaz. A couple lining up for it.
A couple of left footers out to his left, just hanging out there.
Brewster said, I'll have a crack at this myself, and ran out, opened the space. Spanger in the goal square. Puopolo down there, forced over from Grundy. Puopolo nearly kept it in, and he had a forced through for a minor score. 97-44, 53-point Hawthorn lead on the Triple M Foxtel scoreboard. 7.5 remaining in this game.
Kick in wasn't great. Parker was able to win it. Got it somehow to the wing, and Jack. He's got the hard run of Hanbury. Goes to Jetta instead. And Jetta sort of wing half forward. And he has to stop and wait. And then off a step, good kick. Hits White. 50 from home.
How many times they played on in the second half, Stuart, please?
On the Hard Yakka stat sheet, Gary, 26
Big Jesse
to 2.
Hits a beautiful long ball. That is a good kick. Set shot from downtown. Consolation goal for the Swans. 7-8-50. 14-13-97. Triple M Foxtel scoreboard.
So 26 times to 2 the play on since half time in favour of Hawthorn. That is an unbelievable stat. We saw the first one in the quarter.
They got a goal from that.
They got a goal, and they've done it once since, Duck. So maybe they just haven't got right now. They're flat. They're bereft of confidence. They've been beaten by an unbelievably good footy side, and they've got to go back to their well.
Well, they've got to go back to Sydney and play what we think right now, Collingwood, in Sydney, where
Collingwood like playing.
Like playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've got an incredible record up there, the Pies. We'll look ahead to that one.
They've got to win first, of course, the Pies.
Port Adelaide tomorrow night back here at the MCG. The Hawks are about to run away with it with Mitchell, but a free kick, a little bit of throw paid against Jed Anderson. As Kieran Jack will take this one. Got some movement out wide. O'Keefe's got to contend with a couple. Stratton came in and affected the spoil. Lewis shoveled it off the ground. Back to Stratton, back to Isaac Smith, to Shields, to Gibson. By hand, Guerra's going to attack the goal line, his own goal line, and lucky to avoid Tippett. Lake slid in and took the mark. Have you seen Brian Lake tonight, boys?
He's been a little bit fumbly, but he's given. He's done nothing wrong in the one-on-one duels with Tippett. Probably hasn't been as clean, but snuck forward. What he has done very well, because of the fact that he's ran down the ground. He's got Tippett out of position a lot because he's had the courage to run down the ground.
I feel like they're a much better side in 2013 having him in there, though.
Oh, they are.
To the front, and McVeigh, he had a little fumble. And the handball forward from O'Keefe
Duke,
went out of play.
Put it this way, Duke. Sydney went with Pike, Mumford, White and Tippett, and the only tallish defender Hawthorn got is Lake. They get by with Stratton, they get by with Gibson and Hodge. So that is, they don't care, and that's an unbelievable performance.
Handball from Mitchell will trickle out again. Got some Hawthorn fans starting to send the text through. Some good ones, Duke, but some real reptilian stylings as well, who are starting to do some early gloating as the ball gets thrown in. And they've got lots to enjoy out of this game. Handball over the top there from Kennedy, missed its target. Kennedy went back and got it. Smashed forward by Jack. Only as far as Stratton. Stratton coughed it up to Parker. Parker off a step. Has a ping at the goal face across the face. And just to behind. Makes it 51-97 on the Triple M Foxtel scoreboard.
59,615 in the house here. As the Hawks lead it by 46 points. 5.5 remaining in the first qualifying final. It'll be the Hawks to go through the week off and await a prelim final matchup with Cyril Rioli and Buddy waiting to come back in. Sam Mitchell's had a big night, too.
He has 28 hard yakka stat stars.
Ryan O'Keefe's had the match up for most of the night. Short one to Grant Birchall. All Australian in 2012, Birchall. He goes short to Brad Sewell. And now they just hold on to the footy here. Hawthorn go all the way back to Guerra. Guerra to Gibson.
He's been unbelievable, Guerra. By foot, what's he going at, please, Stu? Because he didn't play last week and he was missed.
Gary, 90%. He's had 21 kicks.
Unbelievable. Jed Anderson, he's shown some signs through the sub to Birchall, and they've sliced them open through the middle. How easy was that? Just too good by foot and not able to man up the Swans. And Luke Bruce gets on the end of one directly in front. They'll have to kick it about 45, Doug.
Yeah, well, we've always known that is the great strength of this football side. When they're given a little bit of time and space, their use of the footy, and that was just another classic example of that right through the middle of the ground.
Luke Bruce, I love his forward pressure. He's capable of kicking goals. And this one's just been dragged across the face to the near side for a minor score. 98 plays, 51. Triple M Foxtel scoreboard down to 4 minutes and 13 remaining in this contest.
Yeah, well, no preservation needed. The Hawks have got the weekend off, so that's perfect. And the Swans, well, they just can't get it.
No, we have Al Clarkson joining us off the bat tomorrow as we go down to Simmons Stadium for the Freo Dockers and Geelong, so Hawk fans can enjoy that as we begin our broadcast on Election Day at midday.
Spud with us tomorrow?
Spud's with us tomorrow.
He is he?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to his contribution. Jude Bolton tried to get a kick away there and hurt himself in the process. Rampy looks to take the football out and it goes out.
JB, Sydney's greatest losing margin under John Longmire is 46 points. It's currently 47 as we speak.
Ever?
Yeah, since 2011.
Make sure you see your team live every round. No ad break, siren to siren in HD, only on Foxtel. The scoreboard reads 51-98 as we've got 3.5 minutes left on the Foxtel scoreboard.
Well, a few party tricks now.
What Brian Lake cost you reckon? What's he getting paid? Duke round 354?
Yep.
Just giving the old $1 million man a nice whack in the right.
Tippett, he manhandled him, didn't he, on that occasion?
Yes.
Very, very strong unit, Brian Lake. As Isaac Smith pumps this one long, Ruff sets himself, got pushed in the back, it looked like from here, but nothing doing free kick wise, so boundary thrown.
Hodgie just gone down for a spell up forward, just to said I've done enough, I've directed everything from half back, I'm going down here, I'm going to jag one just to put the full stop on it.
Spank's going to take a turn in the ruck here.
Hello.
He does it all, Spank.
White slaps it down, Isaac Smith. He gets it out to Liam Shields. He's been great tonight. Shields back in the side. Ruff sets himself high. Richards back on the ground. Ruff intelligent. He got it back to Hodge, who had an air swing. He actually had an air in, 1 metre out. And missed the foot. He can't believe it. 99-51. 48-point Hawthorn lead. Foxtel scoreboard.
Jetta, a standing start barrel that hits the wing and ends up in the hands of Rowan, who, outside of some early electricity, has done very little in this game.
Yep.
He's had a quiet time. Long ball forward. I wonder where his best position is, guys. What do you think?
I think when he gets a pre-season under his belt, Jim, he's going to be a midfielder.
He's going to go into the middle.
Well, wing, high half forward, all that stuff.
He's just got to get the body of work under him. Gunston, Shields. He's another one who's probably unlikely to stay in if Cyril comes back.
Oh, I think they love this bloke. Yeah. They really like Shields.
Well, no, they do, but he's the one who was out for him. Who's coming out? Who else is coming out?
Either Jedro stays in or one of these boys.
There's Stratton. 99-51, and we're in junk time now. A minute and 50 left. Been a comprehensive performance this from the Hawks. They could not have prepared better.
All uncontested marks.
Yep. Hill just a little tentative sliding in, and Whitecross has gotten rid of, if you like, and allowing Mitchell to come in. He went sideways to Jack, who can bring it out the other side.
Now he comes back into the corridor to Kennedy, and as Duck had pointed out, not a lot of mark play-ons from Sydney. It's almost been non-existent in the second half. This time they get it moving a bit quicker. McVeigh, Tippett and Lake. Tippett in the box seat, still couldn't get rid of Lake. A pretty good job again defensively, and then it opens the door for Gibson. Happy to see this one over for a boundary throw-in.
He's actually got an unusual technique, Tippett. He turns around, looks at the player, takes his eye off the ball, which doesn't allow him sometimes to judge the ball all that well.
And he obviously hasn't hit up at the footy enough either, because they've only had the 3 inside 50 uncontested marks.
48-point Hawthorn lead. Final minute and a quarter of the first qualifying final here at the MCG in front of nearly 60,000. Clearing kick from Gibson. It's at the half back. Anderson's launched at the footy and rule. Taken there by Puopolo. Little 1-2. He gets going to Hale over the top.
Missed it.
Cook's hands was just not connected. Was it the best way to describe it? Sydney will get an opportunity here. Centre wing, Grundy, McVeigh. They're still working overtime. Bradley Hill, Anderson. They want to make sure they're playing a prelim final. Some of these Hawthorn boys, they haven't stopped at all. Here comes Whitecross to Gunston, back with the flight. And once again, they have just sliced them open. Going forward, all the space inside 50.
Great decision making by Whitecross. Sometimes you look at Whitecross and you go, how good a player can he be? Well, his composure through the middle. I saw a knee, by the way, to McVeigh staying out there. Got tackled from behind and run down by Hill. But Whitecross just glided through, summed it up beautifully, and then executed that Gunston didn't have to break stride.
Incredible set shot kick, this man who's in the paper today saying, I don't miss because I just hate missing. Takes a lot of pride in it, and with that wrap up, he was always going to go close, but he's stuck at home, and he's a good celebrator, Gunston.
Got to get a new one, dude.
He does.
Siren.
There's the siren. The first qualifying final is Hawthorns in the end. The margin's 54 points, and they have taken apart the Sydney Swans.
It is a most emphatic win from a most formidable footy side. And what it does, and this is the reality of qualifying finals when you finish on top, it puts them in box 1A to get themselves into another shot at the grand final. That is a fact. They get a weekend off, and the stats will tell you that the team that has the rest generally goes through. And what it does for the reigning premier, it puts them into a no-loss situation. Anymore, they're out. They'll go back with their tail between their legs. They're a very, very proud footy side. Whether they can recover in time to mount another challenge, I doubt it on tonight's performance, Duck.
No, it was comprehensive in the end. Obviously a very competitive first half, but Hawthorn just really broke it open, and the stats tell the story. I mean, the fact that they just allowed Hawthorn to have so many uncontested marks, it really did open up in that second half, man. What was the stats in the first half uncontested to the second half? Because Hawthorn really just absolutely dominated in terms of possessions, and also obviously uncontested inside the forward 50 and all around the ground.
Yeah, look, in the second half, it was 64 uncontested marks to Hawthorn, 14 to Sydney.
Wow.
And that will be the great concern, Duck and Gaz. You've got a Hawthorn team without Franklin and Rioli, who have served it up to the Swans. They were level at half time, 54. So a 10-goal win in the end, as good as 9-goal win. And that will give the likes of John Longmire and his assistant staff a sleepless couple of nights, I reckon.
Well, and the rest of the comp.
Yeah, and they had, was it 11 goal kickers, two men all up. I mean, when Franklin doesn't play in this side, they look for the best option all the time. Sometimes when he plays, they go to him so much. He's a big figure, he leads so much, and you almost say, and I know that I'm going to go off the beaten track here, but he's got a big decision to make in a few weeks. They've got finals, grand finals, preliminary finals to play in, but they do look a very good side without him, don't they?
Well, they don't. Well, then again,
they just don't rely on anyone.
No, but I think that's as much as a compliment to the game style and the way they play, as opposed to anyone in particular. And
but in previous years, Gary, even last year, they had a reliance on him. I thought, even though they've won games without him, I still think he needed to have a big game in that grand final for them to win it.
Undeniably, what happens too is that Gunston and Bruce, particularly, and Ruff, all become more involved in the game. Much more involved, and that is because you're dead right. There's nobody to draw the footy at every occasion. But look, the way they played today, it just stands up, because you're looking at it, and when you think now, like, hindsight's such a beautiful thing. You go, how could I ever thought that I wasn't going to pick Hawthorn? You know?
I know.
And so. And in the end, the reason I picked them is because they get the job done, and their scoring power is so formidable. At half-time, they'd kicked 31 points in total, and I'm thinking, gee, they average 115 a game. They're miles off it. Well, they've ended up with 105, which is unbelievable.
54 points to margin here at the MCG, and in the second half, it was all square at half-time, 4-7-31 apiece, and the Hawks simply blew the Swans off the park in the second half. We're going to chat to Alistair Clarkson, the coach of the Hawthorn Football Club, shortly. The Hawks are staying out, rewarding their fans, nearly 60,000 here at the MCG in the first qualifying final.
What was the crowd there?
59,615, the official crowd. And a pretty big result all round for the AFL. As Alistair Clarkson comes down, shakes the hand of Luke Hodge.
What's it worth, Duck? You've been there. What's it worth to get a week off in the finals?
Oh, look, it's a huge advantage. They get back. They get to sit back now. I guess players are. It doesn't matter what this time of year. They're sore players for Hawthorn. They didn't look sore tonight, but there are sore players that have that week off and really prepare. Sit back, watch your opposition play over that weekend, and just sit back and be ready for them. It is a massive advantage, and history tells you that that's the best way to win a grand final.
Let's get down to ground level, have a listen to Richo, who's got Sean Berger on with him.
Good opportunity. There's a good window there to come and maybe snag a premiership side. Hopefully we can grab it this year.
Just talking about your versatility, you played down back tonight, up forward. Where do you spend most of your time at the moment?
Just down back at the moment, but middle, up forward, just whatever Paco wants.
You better get in there, mate, and sing the song.
Thanks, mate.
Just get yourself down in the rooms, I would have thought, Duke, after. That's
what
about
just get off and
get
ready for the prelim. There's a fair bit of...
Alistair Clarkson's turned it over a new leaf, Jim. He's much warmer, fuzzier, and he's made a commitment to everyone around him that he'll enjoy the success more.
That's good. True on him.
Till someone crosses him at the VFL or the under-10s.
When they win, I'm talking about.
Sean Burgoyne is a classic example of exactly where Hawthorn and the versatility that they have. I mean, Hodge goes half back. He can go through the middle, goes forward like he did late in the game. Burgoyne does exactly the same thing. Mitchell's been doing that this year, half back through the middle again. I mean, they just have such versatility with that group. They
do. Song coming. Howie's down there, a bit happy man, loves his horse.
He'll play the front of his trousers. What a great feeling. What a great feeling for the footy club, who now just recover properly, sort themselves out, and then sit back and hope that next week, it is the most ferocious contest of all time.
Well, it is a great feeling because they, as I just said before, they get to sit back, watch their opposition play, and then knowing they only have to play preliminary final. You just have to win a game, and you're in the big dance.
How many of those uncontested marks that we talked about all night, particularly Ford? Who was the main recipient? Bruce would have been on the end of plenty, I'd imagine. Gunston on the end of plenty.
Yeah, Roughhead and Gunston 4 apiece, Luke Bruce with 3, and then they had 7 other individuals.
And that becomes hard to defend.
Down to Howie, who has a very special guest with him.
Indeed, a man that dominated tonight, the wonderful captain of the Hawthorn Football Club. Hodgie, apart from the fresh area in the final moments of the game, you played a wonderful game yourself and a great win for the footy club.
Yeah, I feel the boys were hanging a bit of crap on Cole Cheney about his missing the goal square about 6 weeks ago, so I think I might cop some this week.
You're going to make highlight reels all around the world with that one, Hodgie. Hey, mate, unbelievably great game by you, and I don't want to embarrass you, I know how modest and you'll deflect all the attention, but you just seemed to direct so much traffic out there. Have you, as a captain and a leader, have you taken on more responsibility, do you think, this year?
Mate, I reckon opposite. I reckon this year, as a collective group, our leadership group's been outstanding. We've got 6 guys in it, and then we've got the other guys in Shawnee Burgoyne, Brent Guerreras, that are not in the leadership group but stand up and do all the stuff on field that we expect from the older guys. So, in actual fact, we've actually spread the workload of the leadership part, and it's working well for us.
Hodgie, you play a role off half-back where obviously you line up on an opponent, but then from there you read the play, you use your footy brain. Were you surprised that White, he just did not run to dangerous positions? That just plays into your hands, doesn't it?
Oh look, when you're playing down back, you've got to trust your teammates, and as you said there, with a big guy like Tippett, he's definitely the focal point for him, and I think a lot of them else are trying to create space to give Tippett as much room as he can. So we've got to sort of read where we can, cut off, and sometimes you make the wrong decision, and if they go to your man, you're expecting your teammate to come across and help you out, which the boys did a fantastic job tonight.
Hodgie reminded us a lot of 2008 when you're the North Smith medalist doing exactly that. Is that your preferred position? Is that where you think you're best suited in the team?
It depends. If you have a bad one across half back, you like to be in the midfield and vice versa. But look, I think the best part what Clarko does for us this year, what he has done for us is just rotate the guys. We've had a number of guys go through midfield, half back, half forward. It keeps you fresh. If you have a couple of star weeks in one of the positions, he throws you somewhere else to freshen you up, which I think he's done that very well this year.
Find room for Buddy and Cyril maybe in the prelim final. Hodgie, think they get back in?
You'd say so, mate. It's going to be a couple unlucky boys. Look, everyone out there played their role tonight, did the job, and we had a great win. But when you got blokes of the quality of Junior and Frankie raring to go and coming back in, so it's going to be a tough one for the coaches, but it puts us in a good situation.
All right, Lucas, you can sit back and watch everyone else belt hell out of each other.
Hopefully, boys.
Well done.
Well done, Lukey Hodge there. Now, Duck and I, we just get so immersed in the game. We can't be thinking a week ahead. Of course, the Swans will play the winner of Richmond Carlton, with the Maggies having to travel over, or Port Adelaide having to travel over to Perth.
Yep. Okay, so Sydney, on off what they produced tonight, the winner of that particular game, they'll go into a preliminary final, Sydney. They'll still get to a prelim.
You think they'll beat the winner of Richmond or Carlton?
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, history tells you that the team that loses always bounces back the next week. We haven't seen that not happen for a long time. I know.
Straight sets is very rare, isn't it, Jim, for a side that finishes in the top 4. Will tell us when the last time that happened was, very shortly.
Hasn't just got that off the top of his head.
In fact, hasn't got anything off the top of his head.
I think the speaking gigs have really...
We'll find out tomorrow when the tribunal meet.
You make sure you listen. And our Twitter family, not necessarily the pack, members outside the pack, they've pointed out that we got that wrong. Yeah, and I love the way they pointed out too. They just gently say,
with the message.
"Oh, boys, you might have got that one wrong."
I'll admit when I'm wrong, Daz. I've been there often enough.
Had a bit of practice.
Yeah, that's 2 times in 8 years. So. No, I appreciate everyone pointing that out. So there you go. Very nice of them. And the fact that I did call Duke Duck and Duck Duke about 100 times.
Some dramas there tonight.
Pointed out as well. Apart from that, our commentary was outstanding.
No doubt about that, Gary. Some things remain unsaid.
What about the Chew Man?
Well, a lot of people want to know where his next gig is, and I'm suggesting he may not have one after, or that may be truer. You realise if the VBT vote against you tomorrow, that might be your only gig.
Are you serious, Gary?
I've never been more serious.
I know you are. And Gary, I've got to confess, I've got to play on stat wrong as well.
Oh, no.
In the second half.
Sure.
We might get some feedback from the
Sure.
Triple M family right now, Gary, on the Triple M IJ Liquor open line 133353. You might
I've been
want to
big on that stat all day. Don't say it on here until I have a look at it.
You want to give the Chew some feedback, you can speak to the King Wayne Carey. Gaz is ready to roll as well. The Lone Wolf James Bracewell. Looking forward to taking your calls too. 133353. It was the Hawks by 54 in front of 59,615 here in the first qualifying final. Over the Swans is thanks to McDonald's. Triple M rocks finals football.
This quarter was